Gaming news today is all about cause and effect. First, a company that seemed to indicate that the GTA 6 PC release date was landing in a certain timeline, well, they have since walked back those claims, but it feels like maybe they overplayed their hand and had to play nice. We're going to look at the details of how this played out and maybe consider, is this the first time that an earnings call gave something away? Second, there are rumors building about a God of War Trilogy announcement that is imminent, but when will we see or hear about it officially? Seems like it could be right around the corner. We'll take a look at what's being claimed. Third, the PS5 Pro sales have fallen behind the PS4 Pro's pace, but with hardware sales declining across the board, is this cause for concern or to be expected? Fourth, more info coming from the Yoshida interviews, and apparently bringing games to PC is easy money for PlayStation, but does this mean PlayStation will change their approach given their ability to, quote, print money? And as always, I have a game for your wish list and your radar. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, if you're here live, make sure you hit that like button. If you're watching later, make sure you hit that like button. And we are the highest we have ever been of people paying for their own memberships. A humongous amount of people here every month get a membership gifted to them, but we've been continuing to try to get people to jump into the member pool. So click join and make sure you pick Member Plus. Member Lite is essentially what gets gifted to you through gifted membership. It gets you into everything except for the green room, and we're trying to hit a big milestone there. So, as always, that supports me directly. Consider doing that. So, what is going on with the GTA 6 release date? If in case you missed it, I had already kind of predicted that we were going to see a quicker timeline of GTA 6 coming to PC. Now, this was largely due to Strauss Zelnick's own comments about the opportunity for growth on PC and basically making assurances that the game would come there later. Then, Corsair had an earnings call where the VP of Finance said the following: "My understanding now, it's going to come out in the fall for console and then early 26 for PC." Now, this obviously made headlines as he seemed to indicate some level of knowledge pertaining to the timing of GTA 6 on PC specifically. But then, Corsair reached out to IGN and said that the VP was merely speculating. Now, this would not be the first time that someone got ahead of themselves on an earnings call. Warner Brothers CEO casually referred to Mortal Kombat 12, which at the time did not exist in any official capacity, and it turned out to be true. Now, some thinks that this retraction from Corsair is a bit of damage control. Speculation is usually not worded the way that he worded it. Like, he opens his sentence with, "Well, my understanding now," as in he's heard things. His present understanding is that, GTA 6 is coming in the fall, and then it's going to come to PC in early 2026. That type of speculation would be classified as speculation. Be like, well, we are speculating or, hoping to see GTA 6 land on PC in early 2026. Now, given that we already reported on this, I wanted to do a follow-up and let you know, because I know there's a lot of people looking forward to the GTA 6 release date, specifically to the PC, and I encourage people. I said, I think this time you're going to be getting it faster, so that's good news for the PC boys. Now, in the other realm of cause and effect, God of War continues to be a pretty popular franchise, and we're hearing now rumors that there will be an announcement imminent about a God of War Trilogy Remastered. TheGamer.com says the following: "It will reportedly be announced next month." Posting on Blue Sky, Grubb says that previous rumors jumped the gun a little bit and suggests that the remaster will be announced closer to this, and he was referring to the 20th anniversary of God of War. Now, I'm not really interested into remasters of old games. You'll notice the footage behind me right now. This is basically what the game would look like, except they would make it prettier, right? Your textures would be a little bit better. Your resolution would be a little bit higher. Once a game gets to be this old, you're celebrating the 20th anniversary, I'm not really interested in playing a remaster of it. I know there's disagreement here, but I would much rather games this old be remade. Longtime fans will likely celebrate this, but those of us who sort of got into the franchise or maybe even prefer the more modern feeling in like God of War 2018 of God of War Ragnarok, we're probably going to be a little less enthused to basically play a prettier version of a 20-year-old game. I know there is room for disagreement here. I hope that the people that are looking forward to this get a good product and get something that's worthy of purchase and engagement. But I tend to think once a game gets that old, remastering it just doesn't seem to be worth it. Now, in the realm of remasters or remakes or making things a little bit prettier, the PS5 Pro sales are apparently slowing down compared to PS4 Pro's pace. According to recent reports, the PS5 Pro sales are falling behind the PS4 Pro's pace in the US market. Eurogamer said the following. According to games industry analyst Matt Piscatella, who used Circana data to conclude that while the PS5 Pro enjoyed a solid start, January 2025's hardware spend in the US was 45% lower when compared to the same period a year ago. Now keep in mind, he's not saying that the PS5 Pro is 45% lower. He's saying hardware in general in January was down across the board, okay? Piscatella, more from the report, posits that there were double-digit percentage declines across all major console platforms compared to a year ago. PS5 hardware spend dipped by 38% year-on-year, Xbox Series declined by 50%, and the Switch 53%. Even with the Pro trending lower than the PS4 Pro, apparently PlayStation is still leading in sales. This is what they had to say. PlayStation 5 was once again the best-selling hardware platform of the month in terms of both units sold and dollars generated. Xbox Series was second in hardware spending, although the Nintendo Switch edged out Xbox Series in terms of unit sold. It's kind of remarkable that the Switch has been out for 8 years and it outsold the Xbox even still. That's just how much the Xbox hardware decline has been happening. Now, there is some pretty regular analysis in the market that there's going to be a pretty big jump once GTA 6 hits the market. There's a lot of people holding out, and they're still on Xbox Ones. There's an even larger group hanging out and still holding on the PS4. Now, Nintendo Switch, I think slowing down makes sense. It's been out for 8 years, and they just announced the Switch 2. So there was no surprise there seeing it slow down. Also, January tends to be when things go on to a bit of a downturn, and we are heading into the second half of this gen, which is when your charts are going to start to go like this. They can't go up for forever. So more than likely, we're going to continue to see that slow down and then get a bit of a bump and a surge with GTA 6. The question is PlayStation happy with where the PS5 Pro is sitting? It's generating more revenue at its current price structure, which could be related to it not selling as well as the Pro from the PS4 era. So the price point may be deterring users away, and PlayStation may be happy with that. Maybe it's deterring people to just buy the $450 PS5 digital. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see if they analyze this slowdown in their earnings calls and what their sort of take on the PS5 Pro's performance is. Is this a cause for concern, or are they happy with the results and they're going to press on with Project Amethyst and future efforts with PSSR and the PS6? It likely is not going to deter their hardware efforts, but they may be displeased with the results. We'll have to wait and see what they say. Now, on the subject of games and PC and PlayStation strategy, more info continues to come out from the Yoshida interviews, and the false narratives just continue to circulate about PlayStation games coming to PC, and Yoshida's recent round of interviews really adds context to PlayStation's efforts. Now, pulling from PC Gamer, this is the quote: "Releasing on PC does many things," said Yoshida. "It reaches a new audience who do not own consoles, especially in regions where consoles are not as popular." I'm just going to pause here. This again is him referencing China. There's just been a lot of false narratives about that. He is specifically referencing, like, this is huge in markets where there's no console footprint, and he specifically means China when he's saying that. He drilled down on that and spoke to that in another part of an interview. He went on to say this: "The idea is that those people may become fans of a particular franchise, and when a new game in that series comes out, they may be convinced to purchase a PlayStation." Now, there's two interesting things to point out here. First, he emphasized this when he talked about the strategy and the focus on China specifically, as consoles are currently very weak there, and he's just reiterating that. He seems to really want to hammer home the point that focusing on PC in China is a very particular strategy. This contextualizes the China Hero project, where these are Chinese developers, PlayStation's publishing, and they're choosing to do day and date on those games because they're not first-party studios or first-party IP. They view it as a first-party publishing effort. Secondly, Yoshida also echoes something that Herman Holst said about this strategy, that getting potential consumers to buy a PS5 when a new game comes out. You make them a fan of the franchise, and then they're not going to want to miss out. We know a lot of people just in this community alone who have done this for God of War Ragnarok. Now, the big thing here that he said that was making the headlines was about printing money. He talked about this is incredibly easy, and this is tied to another false narrative that consistently gets circulated by people about PlayStation's strategy. Here's the quote. Yoshida also noted that it's an easy way for the publisher to generate extra revenue, stating that, quote, porting to PC is way cheaper than creating an original title, so it's almost like printing money, and that helps to invest in new titles now that the cost of games has increased. Now, this pretty heavily pushes against other false narratives about how PlayStation is moving toward day and date. He makes it clear that porting is cheap and basically prints money, which is far more effective than restructuring all of your first-party studios into parallel development scenarios. I've spoken about this recently and how you're not seeing any signal from PlayStation that they are restructuring these studios, hiring for these studios to do parallel development, and they continue to use porting companies because, as Yoshida says, it's so much cheaper and effectively helps them print money. This also pushes against the false narrative that PlayStation is bringing games to PC because they are not selling enough or making enough money. The games sell significantly fewer copies on PC versus PlayStation, and when you combine that with the claim from Yoshida that they are basically printing money by doing this, I don't see PlayStation deviating anytime soon. So, again, he continues, I think, to give a good inside look into the industry and saying things that many of us have been saying for a very long time, but those who deal in fan fiction and lies are really struggling to spin a lot of what he has said. Now I have a game for your wish list and your radar, and this one is called Dragonkin the Banished. All right, this game is coming to Xbox Series consoles, PS5, and Steam. It is entering into early access on Steam very shortly on March the 6th, just about 2 weeks away. It will feature two-player co-op locally, according to the PlayStation listing. It will also feature 4 players online. However, in early access, that's coming later. You will only be able to play single player when it first comes out into early access on Steam. It is a top-down action hack-and-slash RPG, and their early access roadmap shows spring, summer, and autumn additions to the game. New things to do, characters, etc. Multiplayer will not be implemented until autumn. So it seems that early access should lead to an official launch later this year. Again, it is hitting the Xbox Series consoles and PS5 as well. But if you want to check it out in early access on Steam, you can do that in about 2 weeks. This is called Dragonkin the Banished. So, just a little bit of a recap. We had GTA 6 release date retraction from an outlet that spoke to the timing of GTA 6 PC release. We have rumors building about a God of War Trilogy Remastered announcement, and the PS5 Pro sales are falling behind PS4 Pro's pace. It's a mouthful. And Yoshida interviews continue to push back against false narratives. And that is the news. And now it's time for the discussion. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And we can also throw in right now a very quick Monster Hunter Wilds sort of review roundup. I did not know the embargo was dropping today, so let's just throw this into the show open. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, if you enjoy the news, the discussions, make sure that you guys are smashing that like button. Give us our first 100 likes for the day. Actually, we already have our first 100 likes. Let's go for the next. Let's go for 200 likes. Make sure it is saving your like. And Severin Evans renewed, and we are calling it Member Light now. I'm trying to make it more clear to people when they sign up to pick Member Plus and not Member Light. Severin says, Lono, Yoshida also said PC market is the biggest in the United States and China. He claimed they are the biggest PC markets, and he isn't wrong. I've never spoken to him saying that. I said that he did say that, and then he specifically spoke to the strategy in China, and that was misrepresented. I have never once tried to claim that the PC market is not big in the United States. I merely spoke to somebody misrepresenting a clip while claiming somebody didn't listen to the clip. The clip in question did not speak to the strategy in the United States. It specifically spoke to the strategy in China. I have not once tried to dispute that the PC market is huge in the United States. I have actually acknowledged that the PC market is big in the United States, but the console saturation in the United States is quite strong for the PlayStation. Ergo, Yoshida's comments could not be about the US because he speaks to growing in a market where console is weak. He's speaking specifically to that strategy, and that has been misrepresented. I'm not saying that they're not trying to grow in the PC market as well, but the strategy's different. They're not trying to get as strong of conversion in the United States because their foothold in the United States is already strong. So his comments were largely misrepresented. Joker Quinn, Han shot first, and so did you. Thank you so much for starting us off. The first member to add to the count. If you guys want to add to the count, you can't be on Member Lite to do it. Those are gifted members. So let's check out where Monhun is landing. It's landing strong. It is landing strong, not surprising. It currently has an 89 on PlayStation. Little lower for some reason on Xbox, 83. Only 6 reviews. And then very similar score on PC, 88. So it looks like Monhun Wilds is in a prime position to be a Game of the Year nominee. Anytime you're close to the 90s, you are in a good spot. Excuse me. His statement was not a lie. Your information was horrible, and you should be ashamed that you decided to attack him. I didn't attack him. I falsified his claims. He's never substantiated his claims. He later that day put up a new tweet and completely ignored the original quote that he claimed was about something. He's a liar. Sorry. He lied. I'm not attacking him. When you tell lies, you're a liar. He originally responded to a clip in question, and he now no longer acknowledges that quote. He shifted the goalposts because he's being dishonest. And then he went and attacked me, and he engaged with the salt farmer and somebody who harasses me every single day. So, and if you're just going to come in here and insult me and stir the pot, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? I tell you what. Why don't you just go support him then? If he's so much more accurate and so much more honest, go for it. You can go support him. I don't want you here because I don't like dealing with people who are dishonest. So, Jaster with 32 months says, did the thing. The man didn't even understand what I was correcting him on, and I'm not going to continue to belabor the point. There was a quote, there was a video circulating of Yoshida speaking specifically to their strategy in the Chinese market, and Destin misrepresented the clip and said that Yoshida was saying their primary strategy was to grow in the US and China, which was not what Yoshida said. He was speaking specifically to the strategy in the Chinese market. Nocturnal Tina says, also did a thing. If you guys want your membership renewals to count towards a total, you got to upgrade to Member Plus. Thank you so much. I can't tell the difference between you and a gifted member. You see the Monster Hunter Wild is running worse on PC. I'm very interested. I told you guys ahead of time, did I not? I said I'll be very interested in how Monster Hunter Wilds runs on the PS5 Pro because they're using PSSR. And on the base PS5, they're using FSR1. Do we know what they're using on PC? I'm assuming DLSS and one of the FSRs, like hopefully not FSR1. Dave says, also, Destin posted the quote and he cut off the part right where it proved that you were right. Of course he did, because he's being dishonest. He's omitting the section that falsifies his claims because that's what people do when they're lying. I have no respect for people who misquote, misrepresent, or chop comments up like that. It's completely dishonest. No respect for it at all. Telling somebody that they're being dishonest is not attacking them. I've been corrected on things and admitted right then and there that I had it wrong. I've been like, oop, I had that wrong. Sorry. He can't admit that he got it wrong. The clip in question doesn't support his claim. Gordon McLennan with 16 months of member says, hey, Lono, sorry I missed the last week. Work's been a bit mental. Hope you had a good last week. I did. Zelda with 2 months of member plus. Good morning, Lono. Have you checked out Star of Providence? No. It may sound like a broken record, but this game is great. Star of Providence? Star of Providence. I'll check it out in just a second. JC with the VIP in 21 months, close to 2 years. That's 3 members that I got to add, getting us perfectly to 5. And then a 5 bomb comes in from Raymond and gets us to 10 members on the day. And then another 5 bomb comes in from P-Dub H-Town, starting off the week strong. We're now a 10 bomb away from 25. That's the first 5 that I will owe you guys for the week. Let's see here. Star of Providence. Let me check it out on Steam here. It looks like it's also on the Nintendo Switch. It has a 97%. It's a top-down action shooter with procedurally generated elements. Explore a large abandoned facility in search of incredible power. Is this co-op? Would be my question. It's single player. Yeah, this doesn't look like I would like it, my man. I don't think I would enjoy this. It looks like, I mean, it looks cool. It looks creative. But basically playing a Game Boy game on a full monitor, I would not want to play this for very long. It would mess with my head and my eyes. Super cool. Looks great. But the square Game Boy design, I think, would drive me nuts. I don't think I would like that. I appreciate the recommendation, though. I really, really do. And I appreciate games being creative like that and trying things out. I do. I think it's cool when companies do that. Guys, some of you have been ordering the coffee pretty regularly, and thank you for doing that. That's another great way to support the channel if you're a coffee drinker. ReforgeRoast.com is our owned property. That's not a sponsor. I'm doing good. I'm not biased. I'll play on any system more than others if the game is not well optimized, like Black Myth on Series S holding Xbox back. I'm not sure what you're saying. Oh, are you saying the Series S is holding Xbox back? Is that what you're saying, Nocturnal? He's still doing that? Is it the whole Sony will go more on the PC narrative? Spreading lies with regards to Shu's interview, clipping quotes to push a narrative. Yeah, listen, I'm telling you right now, I know what they're doing, and that's why they don't like the fact that I'm heading them off at the pass. They're irritated because they're setting up narrative armor. Because what they're going to want to do, they're going to want to claim, and they're going to try to use the China Hero Project as evidence of this. They're going to say, yep, PlayStation's going day and date. I told you. And they're going to try to use that claim. That's why they want to dislodge Yoshida's comments from China, because they don't want to admit there is a particular strategy with the China Hero Project. These people lack nuance. They see one thing and they're like, yep, it's all correlation equals causation argumentation. It's like, well, everybody that's ever drunk water died, so water kills you. Like, that's the level of argumentation we are dealing with here. It's like there is a particular strategy to the Chinese market. Now, that doesn't mean that PlayStation's not trying to grow in the US market. I never said they weren't. I merely said the clip in question, Yoshida is specifically talking to the strategy in China with respect to there's no console presence there. That's why they're doing this. And that really contextualizes the situation with the China Hero Project. They don't want this level of nuance so they can mislead the public. Later this year, they'll run with tweets, they'll run with YouTube videos. Write it down. Their content's easy to predict. They'll all claim, yep, here goes PlayStation day and date. They don't want the level of nuance and the clarification that I'm bringing right now. They want that glossed over because they're dishonest. And a 10 bomb from Raymond gets us to the first 25, but Mr. Johnson's going to do an Agents of Chaos renewal and push us past to 26. I now owe you guys 5 members, and I'm going to do it right now. Every single time you guys hit a 25 threshold, I drop 5 members on the chat. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm telling you right now, that is what they are doing. I've been covering this stuff long enough. I've been watching the way these guys operate. I know what they're doing. He was talking about both markets, and he hammered down on especially China. Right, and Paul, here's the thing. I can say both things. I can say, yes, Yoshida acknowledged that the 2 biggest markets are China and US, but then he specifically explained the strategy in China. They don't want you to know that. They're glossing over that. They don't want the public to know that PlayStation has a particular strategy in China. They don't want you to know that. They want you ignorant so that when they make their claims later this year about Lost Soul Aside, people will lap it up because they've been kept in an ignorant state. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. Mikey with a month of Member Plus. Badge change. Had to keep the membership going. Thanks for the shows. Thank you, Mikey, for doing a Member Plus. Edward Holtz does a Member Plus as well at 19 months. Seeing Yoshida destroy all these false narratives is so satisfying to watch. He's bringing out the truth. And I love that he doesn't work for the company anymore. So it's like he has no reason to lie. And then Jonesy does a Member Plus and is going to take us to 29. We're 1 away from 30. That's always a really tempting one. People are really bending over backwards to defend the guy that worked at IGN. Right, the company that misquoted Sony in an earnings call. I mean, yeah, they lie all of the time. Saying the US is your primary reason to release PC games in the region that you have a massive console install base doesn't make sense. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. A rarity here. Like, Paul's agreeing with me. He commonly doesn't. That's the whole point. That's what was so frustrating to me. I was like, he's very clearly saying this strategy has to do with the lack of console footprint. You can't say that about the US. Jonesy, did you upgrade? Oh, you upgraded. That counts as 2. And then RPG is going to bump us to 31. Thank you for that upgrade. Everybody that upgrades to Member Plus, let me know you've upgraded. We'll count it as 2. Correcting anyone is a hilarious notion, says Lobo. The same guy who posed a disingenuous question to Phil Spencer regarding red lines as a gotcha, even after hearing messaging confirming otherwise. You know what's funny is I actually praised him for that interview because he asked that question likely knowing the response that he was going to get. And I said, I appreciate people asking these questions in these interviews knowing they're going to get that level of response. Like, he had to know he wasn't going to get an answer that would help, you know, that narrative of like, no, there are still some things that are safe. Right? I actually praised him for asking that question at the time. I did. I was like, guys, make sure you're hitting the like button. We are screaming towards 200 likes. Thank you so much for doing that. I hear about him. Listen, I'm telling you right now, I'm 10 steps ahead on this. I'm 10 steps ahead of these guys on this, and that's why he got frustrated about that, and that's why he went and did a quote later that day and omitted the section about China. He wants the people that support and listen and follow him, he wants them to be ignorant about that level of nuance so that later this year, when Lost Soul aside, mark it, clip it. I'm predicting what they're going to do because I know they're going to do it. They're going to claim that Lost Soul aside is proof that PlayStation's going day and date on PC because they're going to spend the months leading up to that omitting and ignoring comments like Yoshida that make it clear what the strategy in China is. They don't want you to know about it because it demolishes the future narrative they plan on telling. Sean Bailey with a Member Plus renewal, and Patrick with 31 months. So many good games coming out. Just finished Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 over the weekend. I could honestly play that game for the rest of the year and be totally happy. How many hours did it take you to do that? And that's going to bump the line. You guys both just renewed, and that gets us to 33. Sean Bailey, was that a renewal or an upgrade? Let me know anytime you guys do an upgrade or a renewal. And Super Googly with this first super chat of the day. IGN kept putting lipstick on a pig by giving rubbish Nintendo games 10 out of 10s. Now they score Monster Hunter Wilds 1 point lower than Dragon Age Veilguard. Thank you so much. Always got to bring up Nintendo Super Googly, and we really appreciate your fervor and your passion on that. Monster Hunter Wilds is doing quite good right now. It just got 10 more scores on PS5. Still has an 89, 86 on Xbox, 88 on PC. Definitely in Game of the Year contention score territory. Anytime you're upper 80s, lower 90s, you are definitely in the running for Game of the Year. It took you 90 hours? Holy crap. That's a lot of hours, Patrick. That's so much value, bro. You bought one game, and almost got 100 hours out of it. You could honestly go back and do another 10 without breaking a sweat. We know this. We know this to be true. That game is just so dense, so full. It's crazy. I told people, I was like, I'm low-key jealous of the people that can play that game. I really am. I would love to be able to play that game for 6 or 7 hours a day like I used to back in the day when I would just no-life Skyrim and games like that. Who are you talking to, Paul? He said you went to say Destin, and I think it auto-corrected to Donald. He said something that wasn't said. The U.S. market is not a primary reason for releasing PC games. The PC market in the U.S. is an additive market for PlayStation. Thank you, Paul. Like, someone who commonly is on the other side of issues from me is being like, what Yoshida said is so dadgum crystal clear. It's so agonizing how easy it is to mislead people. Did you see that Sony is planning to stockpile PlayStation 5s for GT? Yeah, they're worried about that. I don't want to get into a conversation about that, but yes, they're trying to prepare for that. Yes. And by the way, if you guys are looking for the GTA 6 release date retraction, that's what's in the title, because Corsair posted a retraction, basically. Oh, he was responding to you, Donald. I said that Destin seemed to have been quote tweeting and correcting the original poster who did not quote Yoshida. But here's the problem, Donald. If you watch the clip in question, that's what I said. I was like, it doesn't appear that you watched the clip either, Destin, because Yoshida makes it clear them targeting the China PC market is not the same reason they're launching in US PC market. US is not the motivator, China is. You don't think GTA releases this year, Broken Lobo? I don't know. That CORSAIR Retraction felt like somebody shot them an email and said, hey, what are you doing? Like, here's the thing. What CORSAIR said about GTA 6, it lined up with what Strauss Zelnick said. I covered the earnings call and the interview from earlier this year. It was from February, and Strauss Zelnick made it very clear that PC is going to happen faster than it has in the past. And another one comes in from Storm, renewing his VIP 39 months. We are off to a great start this week, guys. Already 34 members. Most of these are gifted. Thank you to everybody who has been gifting members this morning, especially Raymond with the 10 bomb and the 5 bomb, man. Greatly appreciate that level of generosity. Did I add that, though? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 16. Yeah, 26. I did. I added it. Okay. And then we've since gotten more. Super googly with the super chat as well. So thank you, everybody, for doing super chats and member renewals and member gifted. Sean answered it was an upgrade. I'm bumping. I'm bumping to 35. Thank you so much, Sean, for the upgrade. We're at 35 members already on the week. That latency ain't no joke. It's so fast, isn't it, Storm? I went back and watched my Returnal gameplay stream on my big screen. I could not believe how crisp and how good it looked. Streaming on AV1 at 1400 and a higher bit rate, holy moly, it looked so good. I was so pleased. NorCal Garbage Man here. What have I missed this morning? A lot of back and forth about GTA 6, about Yoshida interviews, about PlayStation strategy on PC. Yeah. I just think I'm going to start placing those preemptive bets when I know false narratives that are likely to emerge. I'm going to shoot them down ahead of time. So was the issue that he said primarily targeting US and China markets? So maybe I misunderstood, but I read that and saw the initial poster and was so confused what he did was wrong. The issue in question was he misrepresented what Yoshida said. That was what I took issue with, okay? The issue that I had was what you're saying is not what Yoshida said in the clip. That's not what he said. He doesn't say, oh, they are primarily targeting the US and the Chinese market. That's not what he said. He said the two biggest markets are the US and China. And then he directed his attention to China and said, there's a weak console footprint in China, and that's why they're launching there on PC. Do you see? He never once said, oh, they're primarily targeting the US and the Chinese market. He didn't say that. That was my issue with it. I never once disputed that the US and the Chinese PC market are the two biggest markets. Yoshida says it, and we all know that that's true. We know that that's true. My issue was that what he said, Yoshida never uttered that sentence. He never said, oh, they're primarily targeting US and China. He didn't say that. He didn't even say they're primarily targeting China. He said, this is the particular strategy in China. This is the reason why we're doing this. And I'm here to tell you. He framed it falsely. That's exactly right. They're doing this because they're creating preemptive narrative armor. So that when the China Hero Project games start coming out, they've glossed over the strategy in China and misrepresented it, and they could say, yep, PlayStation's going day and date on PC. They're doing the same thing Xbox is doing. These guys have a vested interest in convincing you that this is where the industry's going and that this is the direction that PlayStation's going. It's dishonest. It is not true. Thank you for explaining because I was so confused. And see, that's what they want, Donald. That's what they want. That's what obfuscation does. When you false frame and you obfuscate, you make people get confused. No one really knows what's going on. People think that I'm out here attacking, and it's like, no, I'm correcting. But then it gets framed as an attack. And it's like, I didn't attack anybody. I didn't attack anybody. Doesn't Yoshida not even work at Sony anymore? what difference does it really make what they thought back then? It may be different now anyway. I mean, MASH, he just left, and so he's saying this is what they're doing on PC. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, Yoshida just retired, so he knows. He's like, oh yeah, this is the goal on PC. This is what they're doing. So, like, again, the China Hero project in particular, like, you can see what he's getting at. It's like, oh, so PlayStation's partnering with Chinese developers to develop games in that market, and they're going to hit PC and console day and date. Why? There's no console footprint there. The investment makes more sense when you hit both platforms, and you then have the potential to do what he said. He echoed what Herman Holst said. You can get somebody hooked on a franchise, and then later when you launch the sequel, they're going to be like, well, maybe I should buy a PlayStation. He basically retired and went on an interview circuit. He's like interviewed with a bunch of different people. And he has really destroyed a lot of the narratives. Like, he talked about how they're not going day and date on PC. And see, this is where it gets really interesting. Yoshida literally says they're not doing day and date on PC, but he speaks to the Chinese market with reference to the China Hero project where they are doing day and date. Do you see? That's why, I'm telling you, if you don't have this level of nuance and this level of understanding of the various efforts that they're doing, you're going to buy into the falsehood and the false claims of, yep, they're doing the same thing Xbox is doing. You're going to buy into it. And I've tried time and time again with facts and evidence to say there's no indication that this is true. The opposite is being indicated. The opposite. The way they're talking to their shareholders, the way they're handling the strategy, they're all signaling the opposite. They're signaling that, no, we have a dual approach, according to Herman Holst. Yoshida echoed the dual approach. Yoshida echoed the goal of, like, if you put something on PC and you win people over and they really like your stuff, you might convert them later. This is starting to feel like a lesson in propaganda. I was talking to my friend about this yesterday, and he works in, he has a government job, and he works for the DNR, and they like basically are the ones who check on the trees and all the nature stuff. Like, they're making sure there aren't like outbreaks of infections or different things going on. And he said that, like, he's been dealing with that. Like, people will basically just say something that isn't true, and then everybody believes it, and everybody gets scared, and then everybody's all worked up. And he had somebody literally telling him that they had heard that this department was getting shut down, and he's literally like, I'm in that department. We're not getting shut down. What are you talking about, right? So I said, I'm dealing with the same thing in gaming. I said they basically set things up in such a way where they lie and they mislead people, and then when you push against the lie, they label you the liar. It's just a big game. It's just a big game. It's like, does it matter if they went day one, though? I don't think it's a big deal personally. I mean, you're not engaging in the conversation, Treble. No one's saying their opinion on whether or not it should happen. Now, I have my own opinions about the quality of the games tend to be higher when they're made for the PlayStation first and then ported later. I think PlayStation first-party studios make games at a higher caliber of quality than the rest of the industry. That's just my opinion. That's what I've experienced. I've been playing games since games became games, and I'm here to tell you the level of quality I get from PlayStation first-party studios is not matched in the industry. It isn't. A lot of the times when you play multi-plat games or games that hit PC and consoles same day, they have issues. They have performance problems. They need to be patched. They are clearly not ready for prime time, whether it's Jedi Survivor or Dragon's Dogma 2 or, a litany of other games that continue to come out with humongous budgets, and they're not at the quality of the games that I've played from PlayStation first-party studios. So I do not care when something lands day and date on PC. That doesn't bother me. I loved Helldivers 2 just as much as the next guy. I had a blast. It didn't bother me that it hit PC day and date. I even told people that I didn't care if it went to Xbox because that could help the funnel of players have more people to play for longer periods of time, because every live service game goes up and then naturally tapers down, and the higher that you can get that number, the longer the game has longevity and health. I was never against that. I have no problem with, if you want to switch your studios to parallel development and you think it's better for the health of those studios and profit to make the games for PlayStation and PC day and date, if they come to that conclusion, my only concern is game quality. I do not care if Ghost of Tsushima 3, because Ghost of Tsushima 2 is coming out this year, Ghost of Yote. I don't care if Ghost of Tsushima 3 is day and date on PC. That has no effect on me. The only thing that affects my experience is the quality of the game. Just because you can play it on PC doesn't affect me. It doesn't. But what does affect me is when you try to go parallel development and then you end up struggling to either add new things, innovate, or polish because you have a broader scope of project delivery. That's always my concern. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm on record as saying, like, it wouldn't surprise me if when we get to PlayStation 6 era, they do start launching more games day and date. They'll either get better at it, or they'll justify it, or they'll feel like they've hit market saturation and there's no threat. Like Hiroki Totoki said, he didn't feel like PC was a threat, you know? Let's ruin Lono's train of thought with members in Super Chat, says P-Dub H-Town. With a $5 Super Chat. Thank you so much, P-Dub H-Town. Yo, what's good, Mr. Chosen? JC says, I still disagree with that. Yeah, a lot of people don't think so. They don't think so. And you know what, JC? I think just the other day I argued against myself because I said all of the games that are entering development right now that are going to come out in 4 to 5 years, they're likely going to be PlayStation 6 cross-gen games, right? Like the next God of War, okay? Next God of War we know is likely in very, very early production, which means it's coming out in like 5 years, or maybe 5 years, okay? That's 2029. That's 2030. Okay? That's a cross-gen PS6 title. Well, have we had any indication that Santa Monica is equipping themselves to do parallel development? Have we had any indication that they're gearing up for PC day and date? No, we haven't. We've had no indication of that. From the shareholders to the earnings calls to the hiring, no indication. Okay? So I think my prediction is wrong. When I said that I could see them doing that with PS6, there's no indication of that right now, and now is when you would see the indication. They would be laying the groundwork right now to be doing day and date if that's what they were doing on the next round of games, and it would land during like PS6 era. Now, late gen PS6, maybe I end up being correct. Maybe when we're 4 years into 4 or 5 years into PS6 gen, we're like, 2034. Maybe by then they're like, yeah, we've gotten better at this. We can ship day and date. We've got saturation at a point where PC's not a threat. Let's go day and date. I continue to think they're not going to do that until they tap out on all these markets, India and China especially. They're really, really going to want to grow their console footprint in those markets before they start doing that. If they hit what they feel like is a plateau and a saturation in China, India, and some of these other regions where they're trying to push in, even when they plateau and feel like they've hit saturation, I still don't know if they're going to think that's a good idea. They might still think, no, we maintain this user base that we've grown. When you're hitting record MAUs, like 129 million MAUs, you're going to want that number to keep going up. And let's just say in 3 to 4 years, they get to like 150 million MAUs because they have good growth in China. They don't want to motivate those people to leave their hardware. They want them on their hardware. Wasn't Ragnarok cross-gen? Yeah, Ragnarok was cross-gen. People say, oh, they're going to do day and date as if they don't already do that. They just don't do it across the board because they don't want cannibalization of their console. See, Kay, you're the kind of person that I want to have a conversation with because you see the nuance. You're like, yeah, they'll do it for live service games. They'll do it with Chinese developed games. Like, do you see? They'll do that in these instances because there's business impetus to do it. There's business impetus to do day and date with a live service. There's business impetus to do day and date in the Chinese market. That's why misrepresenting what Yoshida said frustrated me. It's like, I know what you're doing. You're trying to gloss over PlayStation's specific and particular strategy in China because later this year, you want to claim Lost Soul Aside as evidence of your predetermined position. That, like, this is the direction this is the direction that the industry's going. No, it's not. There's 10 more reviews now for PS5 on 10 more just hit. 66 total reviews now on PS5 for Monster Hunter Wilds. still at an 89. Xbox's score has gone up to an 86, 88 on PC. So again, very, very strong score for Monster Hunter Wilds. The review embargo dropped this morning. I will be checking it out this week on my PS5 Pro. I will. And if you guys were going to check out Ender Lilies at my recommendation, I would just skip to Ender Magnolia. I was starting to get frustrated with certain decisions they made from a design perspective, and I went and did some research, and I booted up Ender Magnolia, and within 10 minutes, I was like, oh, wow, they responded to all of the criticisms that people had for the first game. So I literally just stopped playing Ender Lilies. I was getting frustrated by some of the design choices around iframes, rolling, and player movement, and the second game is just, holy crap. It is so, so good. And if you missed it, my wife played Pirate Yakuza on Saturday for members. You guys can go back and watch that. I was going to ask about Ender Magnolia later today. It is, I'm telling you, man, they deserve praise because they clearly listened to criticism of the first game. Like, the first game, like, I just wasn't enjoying the combat flow. I was like, the dodge is so clumsy. She basically, like, flops on the ground. It didn't feel good. I was like, just give me a dash. And the second game, 10 minutes in, they convert your roll into a dash. And the roll was better anyway in the second game. And they give you an in-air dash. They give you double jump, dash, and an in-air dash within like 10 minutes. And it elevates it almost immediately. It just elevates it. It's like, this is so much better. And I've already been in 2 boss fights that felt phenomenal. I learned from my mistakes. I changed my approach. Flow state happened. In the first game, it's just kind of clumsy. It's kind of rough around the edges. And there were complaints in the user reviews about it. And I'm here to tell you, they listened to the community significantly. Ender Magnolia is the sequel. And it is like 100 times better than the first one. Yeah, I was liking Ender Lilies. And then it started to get a little bit more challenging. Not because it was harder, but because like I didn't feel like they were equipping me to move around. And in Ender Magnolia, within 10 minutes, they're like, here's double jump, here's dash, here's an in-air dash. And I'm like, this feels fantastic. Oh, they also went away from your abilities. Some of the abilities in Ender Lilies, you can only use it like 10 times, and then you have to rest. They didn't do that in this one. I can just keep using the abilities when it comes back around. Yeah. Lono, I was watching your Returnal stream and you mentioned Saros or something. Are they making Returnal 2? Marvel, are you sleeping under a rock? Saros, S-A-R-O-S. Yes, it's the spiritual sequel to Returnal. It was announced at the last PlayStation State of Play, and I yelled my head off when we co-streamed it. Guys, if you're enjoying the stream and the dialogue and the back and forth, make sure you hit the like button. A lot of you are probably coming in here looking for GTA 6 news. There was a GTA 6 release date essentially kind of leaked by Corsair. They basically said that GTA 6 was going to come in the fall, but the big thing that they had said was GTA 6 was going to be coming to PC early 2026. And when they said that, everybody got like really excited. I had already predicted that it seemed like, it already had seemed like it was going to come to PC faster, just based on things that Strauss Zelnick had said. So this guy says, why do I feel like your main argument was made 20 times that the word switched around a bit, then 2 or 3 times would have been enough? Also, it seems like you made the same point too often and in a different way. On my avowed, gameplay looks bad. I don't really care. That was back when I thought it looked bad, and then I played it, and I kind of think it feels bad, but there are people that love it. Swallow pony juice? 19 months. People look to forget that Korean publishing will also hit the market of Indonesian, a market that is as huge as China and in the Indian marketplace. Right, and thank you for 19 months. By the way, if you guys want to upgrade and help us with the Member Plus count, be sure to do that. We've been hitting to record highs on that. We need like 20 people to upgrade, and we will hit a new milestone. And when you do that, you unlock IRL celebration streams. 577. I've tried to make it even clearer. I renamed the base membership tier Member Lite, just to make it clear, so when people subscribe brand new as a member, that they don't pick it. We need people to skip over that. That's the gifted tier. It's a strange speculation on an earnings call for the GTA stuff. Here's the thing, Paul, with the GTA 6 thing. I don't think he was speculating. The phrasing does not sound like speculation. He's like, well, now my understanding is that GTA 6 is coming in the fall and then coming to PC early 2026. And it's like, he was speaking as if he had heard something, as if he had been told something. I think the retraction was like, I think Take Two said, hey man, what are you doing? It was like when the Warner Brothers guy said, Mortal Kombat 12. And everyone was like, wait, what? And it was real, but they hadn't announced it yet. Any idea what will be happening at the Xbox IGN show? Oh, shoot, that's today. We were going to co-stream that. I forgot. I forgot all about that. What time is that? The ID at Xbox thing? We were supposed to co-stream that. We might not be able to. I have a call with YouTube today at 5, and I don't know if I'll be able to co-stream that, and then I won't have time for anything else. You'll definitely look it up. Yeah, do it. That Saros trailer is unbelievable. Let's see. They're doing it today at like noon, aren't they? Or is it 1? I can't remember. We were supposed to co-stream it. ID at Xbox. Let's see if we can find that account. Yeah, I believe it's 1 p.m. Eastern today. That seems to be the case. 1 p.m. Here we go. They're doing a special show. Next big things for Balatro. Yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern. How long is the show? Do they say? Biggest moments from the main show. A lot of people there. It's probably only an hour, I would imagine. I want to see Death Stranding 2. I saw a handsome photo of Kojima. Will you cover the Kojima Death Stranding 2 stream? When is that? That's this week sometimes, right? Sometime quick to the thumbnails. No, I don't want to make a thumbnail right now. We're having a good conversation and a good flow. Does anybody here have Wi-Fi trouble on the Pro? I don't use any of my consoles over Wi-Fi. I've always plugged directly in. So if you're having issue with Wi-Fi, I mean, is it where you have it located? Do you have it like in like a metal stand? Is it surrounded by like an entertainment stand or something like that? I went back to Returnal after giving up so early. Thanks, Lono. I'm kind of liking it now. I was really, really hoping that Returnal gameplay stream would turn into like almost like a, hey, here's some pretty basic advice. Here's some tips. Here's some beginners, this, that, and the third. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you're just getting here, make sure you go through the ritual of smashing the like button. And if you subscribe to the channel, that's totally free. You can then talk in my chat. Switch to the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Do you have Wi-Fi 7, 6E, or 6? Yeah. That's the question. Yeah, which kind of Wi-Fi do you have in the home? And again, do you have the PlayStation surrounded by something? Is it having a hard time just getting a signal in general? I was at my brother-in-law's. He had his Wi-Fi router like down in this metal stand underneath, all this metal. And it was like I couldn't get consistent signal, and I just took it and put it on top, like on the desk, and like immediately everybody was having better speeds and better signal in the house. You have a better understanding of it now? I do think a lot of people should watch that beginning of my stream because essentially I argue that there is progress in Returnal that you're just not aware of. I just don't think a lot of people know. Your brother just gave me tech kisser. And my father-in-law is like, he's like, I've tried to tell him that when you put it down there, you're not gonna get consistent signal. You're gonna struggle. It's a makeshift Faraday cage, right? I wrap my Wi-Fi router in tinfoil and put it in the closet. PSA Wi-Fi is the bane of every fighting game. Always use the cable when you can. Yeah. If you can. Listen, I know sometimes. Sorry, Zubair, I stole your joke. I had a normal PS5 and it worked perfectly. I just got the Pro and the Wi-Fi just keeps disconnecting. That's really bizarre. I don't have an answer for you. You mean you literally could have a faulty Wi-Fi, whatever you would call it, a Wi-Fi card in the PlayStation? I don't know. You can't figure out the meta progression in Returnal? Well, you need to go watch my stream then. I break it down in the opening of the stream. I walk through all the ways that you can progress in that game and all the ways that you can get stronger that you're probably not aware of. And Tower of Sisyphus, I learned, I didn't know this, Tower of Sisyphus is a really, really great way to level everything up because you can just grind that and make your weapons stronger. I didn't know that. I thought Tower of Sisyphus was like a contained environment. So, which stream? Returnal in 2025 is the name of the stream. It's like Returnal gameplay in 2025. The thumbnail just says Returnal in 2025. And like the first 10 minutes of the video is me breaking down how you actually are getting meta progression, how you get stronger, and then I break down strategy throughout my run to show you how to get stronger and how to survive. The stream is really helpful, says I Am Marvel. I downloaded the game again. I never beat it. Yeah, I get all the way to Biome 5 in that, and Biome 5 is probably the toughest. Biome 6 is kind of free as long as you're careful and methodical. Yeah, Biome 6 is kind of free. You just got to be methodical. You're usually really strong by the time you get to Biome 6 anyway. So, here, let's take some questions. You guys are submitting questions. If you've never been here before, that is a perk of being a member, and I got one here from Jay. He says, what game is better, GTA 5 or Fortnite? Whichever one you like the most. Those games don't really compare to each other. Khaled says, what was the result of you going back to play Returnal and make a guide? Well, we got great results. We got great viewership. The video is performing well. It's slowly getting picked up by external search, and so people are finding it. We probably need to go timestamp it. That was the one thing I should have done over the weekend was I should have timestamped the beginning as a beginner's guide. And then timestamp all the boss fights. Because I do die in Biome 1, and then I try again, and then I make it all the way to Biome 5 in one run. Just all the way through. Well, what was the reason? I love the game. I'm excited for Saros, and a bunch of people are taking an interest in Returnal because of Saros. So, I wanted to let people know, hey, y'all are missing out on a masterpiece because you don't think there's progression in the game, and there is. A lot of people are missing out, I think, on a masterpiece. So, PS5 Pro is so crap. No power, no better loading times, etc. You don't buy it for better loading times. What are you talking about? You buy it so that you can get 60 FPS while still being in fidelity and ray tracing modes. Monster Hunter Wilds Metacritic reviews from Xbox. Xbox Air gave it a 75. Windows Central gave it a 70. Okay. They also fixed the biome where a lot of people quit the game. Yeah, Biome 3 getting rebalanced is a significant reason to go back and take another crack at it. A lot of people got stonewalled by Biome 3. I was one of those people. It went from being a game that I enjoyed to one of my all-time favorite games because they fixed Biome 3, basically. What's the GTA 6 news coming 2020? Is it still coming in 2025? Well, there was a Corsair earnings call where the VP said that his understanding was that GTA 5 was coming in the fall of 2025 and then coming to PC early 2026. He then retracted and told IGN he was merely speculating. It did not read or sound like speculation. It didn't. It seemed like he knew something. So, I don't take his retraction as an indication that like, oh, he was just speculating and he shouldn't have. I take his retraction of, oh, he was privy to information that's not meant to be public yet. And here's why. I'll tell you why. I'll explain to you. Strauss Zelnick kind of talked around it, but I extrapolated from Strauss Zelnick's commentary that the GTA 6 release date on PC would be faster this time around. I thought it was pretty obvious from his comments. But he did speak around it, and he was vague. I think the last thing they want, given their history and their ability to get people to double dip and buy GTA 2, 3, and 4 times, I don't think they want people knowing that. I don't think they want people knowing it's coming to PC faster. Do you want to know why? A couple million people will probably give in and buy it and get it on console, or buy a console to play it. A couple million probably will. But if they know, well, in 6 months it's coming to PC, or it's coming to PC faster, they might hold off. Like, Take-Two stands to make way more money if they're vague and they're non-distinct and they're non-specific about coming to PC. So that's my thought on it. Like, I don't think Corsair did that retraction because he was like, yeah, you guys misunderstood what I said. I was just speculating. No, I think somebody said, hey, dum-dum, we let you know that. We let you know that, and you just let the world know it's coming faster this time around. That's not Take-Two's thing. They'll double dip. Oh, yeah, they want the double dip. I think they're coming to PC faster, but I don't think they want people to know it. They likely have the marketing deal for GTA 6 peripherals on PC, and they know that they're going into production later this year. No way everyone is in the dark on the release window. That's exactly my logic on it, Paul. I do not think that man was speculating. I think he knew something. And they were like, hey, what are you doing, bro? Like, we're not going to let people know that. They want those first 3 months of sales to be literally just nothing but red hot fire of just everyone's buying it. Well, you're going to give people a whole lot of reasons. You're going to give people a whole lot of reasons to wait if they know, oh, it's coming early next year to PC. Guys, we are an hour into the stream. Thank you for your amazing support. Let's get 300 likes. Double check that YouTube's being on the up and up. Sometimes it's not saving your likes. Windows Central gave it a 4. There must be an issue with meta. What do you mean they gave it a 4? Like a 4 out of 5 stars? That's a good score, though. That's an 80. That's not a bad score. Oh, yeah. Jez gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah, Metacritic's glitched out. Windows Central did not give it a 70. Jez Corden gave it an 80. Yeah. Jez Corden says, pros, gorgeous environmental design, familiar fun monster hunter gameplay, spectacular sound with epic set pieces, fantastic new monster designs. Cons, far too easy the whole way through, undermining the game systems even in high rank play. Well, you have my attention. That to me is a pro. It's easy? Okay, I'll play. Continuous open world isn't utilized well. NPC villages are dulled compared to Astera from Monster Hunter World, and even Chimera from Monster Hunter Rise. Endgame is quite light on content. I mean, these feel all very thematic around the same thing, like there's a lack of depth, and difficulty. Casual Dad Gamer says, tell me more. Yeah, that's right. Say no more, fam. You're like, yeah, it's a little too easy. Oh, you don't say. I've been watching you since 1 hour. What are you doing? Be quick. I'm sitting in a chair talking to a live audience about the latest in gaming news. That's pretty much the show. Yeah. So it looks like they gave it an 80 and Xbox Air gave it a 75. I don't think 75's that outside. I thought 70 seemed a little low, given it's basically kissing 90. It's like you're keeping it from hitting 90 with those 70s. You know what I mean? Oh. Hang on a minute. Chat. They got it. It's going up. They just got the Metacritic must play 90. It's going up on PlayStation. 88 on PC, 86. But listen, this says a lot. 72. Double the reviews over here on PlayStation. 90 must play. I'm telling you, that thing's headed. That's Game of the Year nomination game right there. Gonna be a tough year. Gonna be a tough year for the Game of the Year category, boys. That's tough, man. There's gonna be a lot of games up there in that threshold. What game? Monster Hunter Wilds. Why are Xbox reviews always so minuscule? Because there's way more people on PlayStation. What do you want me to say? You know? What do you want me to say? Good channel, good vibes. Don't stop. We enjoy it, bro. I appreciate that, Frank. Thank you. Yeah, it did that thing. Guys, double check the like count. It went up by like 3 likes. Make sure it's saving your like. We should be able to hit 300 likes like right now. Monster Hunter World also got a 90. Yeah, it just tied Monster Hunter World for getting a 90. It's hitting it in the right, hitting the right range. Are you going to be playing with Hilly on Friday? We could. I don't know if you guys, I mean, do you really want to watch he and I play that game? I thought we could play that, and then Madam and I could also play it. Like, this incentive is for the Friday night stream with Madam. So it's still sitting at 89 on open. Okay. I've been here for an hour. What are you doing? Lobo, stop. Have you heard about the new open world game Mind's Eye? Yeah, they showed it off at the PlayStation State of Play, and I thought that the gameplay looked fake. I thought that the gameplay looked fake. 70 is a good score for a game. 50 is average. Oh, really? How many games with this 50% are you buying? Do you make it a habit of buying games with a 50% and saying, it's probably average. It's probably mediocre. The top tier comment. Yeah, I've been here for an hour. What are you doing? I've been here for 8 years and I still wonder what you're doing. Windows Central is now showing a 90. Oh, they gave Monster Hunter Worlds a 90. I'm sorry. Oh, so they gave Monster Hunter Worlds a 90, and they gave Wilds an 80. Okay. Yeah, Jez's score is just not registering properly. Where did he play it? Did he play it? I'm assuming he played it on the Xbox, right? Let's go ahead and go see if they fixed it. I'm going to scroll all the way down. Yeah, that... Somebody should let him know. Somebody should let him know that, yeah, yeah, he's going to get hate. He's going to get a bunch of undue hate. Jez did not give that game a 70. He gave it an 80. Lono, how sure are you that the God of War remasters are not the 2018 game? What? What are you talking about? Even if GTA 6 is half as good as speculated, I wonder if it will take Game of the Year due to popularity. Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion around that, like just the automatic assumption that that it's going to win. That's not why games win, though. Come on, Lonnie, you know where he played it? No, it wouldn't surprise... Hey, hang on a minute. It wouldn't surprise me at all if a lot of the guys that lean more pro Xbox start reviewing things on PC. It wouldn't surprise me at all. A lot of them are suddenly saying, oh yeah, PC's the way to go. Go PC, go PC. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if you started seeing some of those guys reviewing games on PC. Oh, you think a remaster would include 2018? God of War 2018 doesn't need to be remastered. They did a free 4K checkerboard update and it runs at that 4K checkerboard 60 FPS. There's nothing to remaster. It looks incredible. It looks like a next-gen game. You know what I mean? There is zero reason to touch 2018. Now, yes, God of War Ragnarok looks significantly better than 2018. Like, there's really, really better, higher levels of intricate detail and the metal and the shine and the lighting and the shadows. But there would be no reason to do a remaster of 2018. Now, if somebody said, well, they remastered Horizon Zero Dawn. This is true, but there was a chasm. I mean, a chasm of difference between what Horizon Zero Dawn looked like and what Horizon Forbidden West looked like. I mean, it was a pretty big difference. They remastered Spider-Man. Yeah, they did remaster Spider-Man, but again, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I just don't think it would be. It would almost assuredly be looked at as like, it's like the Days Gone remaster. The Days Gone remaster right now, if you look at the side-by-side comparisons, there's like no difference at all. There's like no difference. It feels like there's a plan to remaster all the PS4 games. You could do a director's cut of God of War 2018. You could do a director's cut and like give it a little spit shine and let people buy it for $10, or let people who haven't played it yet buy it brand new for, I don't know, 50 or something. A director's cut, maybe. I don't think you'd want to couch it as a remaster. I think they should have gone. I think they should have done Days Gone as a director's cut. Personally, I do. I think the reception of Days Gone would have gone over better as a director's cut. I think, but although maybe their own research is indicating that consumers are responding more strongly to remasters than director's cuts because they're like, it's more clear what you're getting. Excuse me. God of War 2018 is already on PC. Spider-Man was remastered because it was going to PC. I mean, maybe that's the reason why. How is Tsushima Director's Cut compared to the original game? I mean, they added 3D audio. They did stuff with DualSense. They did something with voice acting synchronization, which was nice because I like playing the game in Japanese. So, Definitive Edition would have been best. What's the difference between Director's Cut and a remaster? Yeah, see, a remaster, they actually go in and they raise and elevate things graphically. Like, Director's Cut in Tsushima didn't really do that. Shuhei said if you want sequels, you better buy them remakes. He did not say that. He did not say that you better buy them. He said that you have to be okay with companies doing remasters and remakes because it helps support future games. He was speaking to fans and gamers who get upset by remasters and remakes, and they don't want the cadence of games to be disrupted by that. They just want nothing but new games. And Yoshida was basically saying you need to be okay with that because that helps fund future games. He did not in any sense of the phrasing indicate that, oh, you should go buy these to help pay for new games. He didn't say that. Goes up resolution and stuff because of the better hardware, but it wasn't the level of a remaster. Didn't Ghost Director's Cut add ray tracing? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong, but I remember the director's cuts weren't really focused on anything graphical. It was more of like, it was more functional than graphical. The director's cut also removed loading screens entirely. Like when you fast travel, like the loading screen doesn't even come up anymore. You just like, boom, boom, you just appear. Spider-Man Remaster added ray tracing. Yeah, I believe Spider-Man Remaster did that. I don't think the Ghost of Tsushima director's cut added graphical level things like that, other than like what Eugene said, like they bumped resolution a little bit. Ben isn't making a sequel because no one bought it day one and it didn't sell well at launch. Well, track with me on this. It did not sell well at launch, and then Bend executives rejected the sequel pitch. Now, I want you to consider what Yoshida said. You got to be okay with remakes and remasters. It helps fund new games. The Days Gone Remastered could 100% be an effort to test the market. It's been ranked fairly high on the PlayStation pre-order. Is it still up there? It was in the top 10. It was up there with some pretty big names. If it does well commercially and the interest is strong, they may get the green light to do a sequel. They may say, you know what? This game has aged well, and the public likes it more, and the remaster sold well. You know, a $5 super chat from Siri who says PlayStation 6 launch titles being PS5 remasters would be hilarious and sad at the same time. No, I don't think that's the goal going forward, is every time you walk into a new gen, they remaster everything. I think they know, and this is something that Mark Cerny has hinted at, Siryu. I think they know we're within the hemisphere of where games are going to land for the most part. And they know that the future games on PS6 are not going to look like a billion times better. They're going to be running at 60. They're going to be running, at 4K. There's going to be more innovation with respect to like mechanics and probably ray tracing. We'll probably get some path tracing and things like that. So they know you're not going to like walk into the PlayStation 6 and be like, well, Horizon Forbidden West looks like trash now. Does that make sense? The PlayStation 5 and all these remasters are going to be within the hemisphere of what games look like on the PS6. You're not going to get these leaps anymore where you buy into the new gen and within a couple of years you're like, oh man, this makes everything look like on the old gen look like crap. Like right now, if you go back and look at like God of War 2018 and you go back and you look at Days Gone and you look at The Last of Us Part 2, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like those games are already really good looking. They've just boosted performance. That's, I think, the goal. I think they know gen to gen. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. I don't think you're going to see these monumental leaps. I tried to tell people that early this gen. I said, if you look at Horizon Forbidden West, I said, I don't think we're going to get to the end of the PS5 gen and be like, holy crap, this new game is blowing Horizon Forbidden West out of the water. I said, with respect to graphical fidelity, we're so close to the ceiling. Like, you get to the point where you're going to get depreciating returns because, like, photorealism and realistic water and all of that, realistic lighting and shadows, you're going to start getting depreciating returns. You're going to spend an awful lot of bandwidth and treasure to try to make a game look prettier, and then performance will tank. So I don't think you're going to walk into the PS6 era and be like, yeah, what a waste. They remastered all those games, and now these games look 1,000 times better. No. I think you'll be playing games on your PlayStation 6 that are in the hemisphere of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered and Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores. I think your PlayStation 6 will look great, but it'll still be in that hemisphere. I don't think we're having leaps and bounds anymore. You can see it already in the way the tech is going. They're focusing on frame gen and upscaling because they're not able to push things with raw power like they used to. Like, you're not going to buy a brand new graphics card, brand new console or whatever in the future and be like, well, last gen we played everything at 4K and now we play everything at like 8K 120. You're just not going to have those leaps anymore. I just don't think you are. I think image quality and image stability is the big focus. Some data on why 5 out of 10 is not average. Metacritic. An analysis conducted in 2019, which examined over 16,000 game entries, found that the average critic score was 70 out of 100. Yeah, because the average game isn't down there in the depths of terrible scores. The only way 5 could be average is if you were consistently seeing games getting 2s and 3s to pull the average down. So, if you guys are enjoying the content, man, thanks for tuning in on this fine Monday morning. We've only been streaming for about an hour. If you give me 15 more likes, that would be incredible. We'll be sitting at 300 likes. We have been checking periodically on the Monhun Metacritic on PlayStation. It is a must-play at 90. It's continuing to go up on Xbox. It went from an 83, 84, 86, 87 now, the more reviews that come in, and an 88 on PC. We'll see if they've rectified Windows Central's score. Jez Corden gave it an 80. Yeah, they still haven't fixed his score. This should not be a 70. It should be right here in between Xbox achievements and Xbox era. I don't know if anybody wants to let Jez know. They've miscalculated his score. He did not give it 3.5 stars. He gave it 4 stars, which would be an 80, not a 70. So this is Game of the Year territory right here. This is Monster Hunter Wilds is currently in Game of the Year territory with that score. Likely a nomination headed their way based on these scores. 74 critics. It shows which platform is used most. Oh, that's common. That's super, super common nowadays. Yeah, when you see reviews, PlayStation typically has the most. Wilds might be the first 90 this year. And a 5-bomb comes in from Behemoth. And he gets us 10 away from 50. Somebody drops that 10 bomb. I owe you guys 5 more. Nice little setup from Behemoth. I've been dropping the 5 bombs as soon as I owe them to you guys to keep the momentum. And I love seeing names we recognize get them. We're trying to get feed back in the total. I'm sorry, in the member group. Subtracted 10 points for the Xbox tax. No. I was about to say the same thing, says Street Shadow. Along with the Super Bowl having the symbols, PlayStation's becoming the de facto visualization of gaming along with things like Mario. What did Hotshot say? Oh, about the 74 critics. Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of people that have said that this would be bad for the industry, for one platform to kind of become the de facto platform. I think we'll have to wait and see if that actually turns into the nightmare that everybody's claiming it will turn into, as far as prices will go up and they'll do all these anti-consumer practices and stuff. I don't see that happening. But, when you get to a level of market dominance, it is hard to justify not doing that to your shareholders. If you look at how Apple has managed their position in the market. A poll over here asking, when did you start playing Monster Hunter? It looks like a lot of people started playing Monster Hunter with World. I think that was the first time I ever played. Yeah. We're getting some questions submitted by members. That's a great reason to be a member, and you guys got us super close to 300 likes. And MTO submitted a question that says, April, May is insane for the number of games coming out. How does one find time to cover and play these games or even afford these? I'm basically going to continue to use the posture of, if I'm not liking something, I'm just going to put it down. I was enjoying Tales of Iron 1 and 2 enough to finish. Nine Souls, same thing. Plague Tale Requiem, Final Fantasy 16. These are all games I've rolled credits on this year. Space Marine 2. I finished a ton of games, and we're only, 2 months in. That's a lot for me, honestly. I'm trying to a lot more time to play and finish games. But when I was playing Ender Lilies, and I ended 2 play sessions and just was not enjoying the combat anymore, I was like, let me go to Google and check something. So I went and did some research, and I just jumped to Ender Magnolia and was immediately having a better time. So I'm just going to have to take that posture. PlayStation's been anti-consumer. You'll have to explain to us what you think that means and how you think they're being anti-consumer. I'm just going to start doing that. It's if I'm not enjoying a game, I'm just going to put it down. I'm just going to put it down and be like, you know what? There's so many other games to play. Why waste another minute of time on a game that I'm not having a good time with? That simple. Played the demo for Space Marine 2. I liked it, but the gameplay is very repetitive. It's not super long, though, which makes that perfectly fine. In my opinion, Space Marine 2 is the most video game that I've ever played. It's just a video game, man. It's good. It's just good, clean fun. I mean, it's not clean. It's violent as all get out. It's just good, clean fun, man. You play that co-op with somebody. The bosses in Ender Magnolia are rough too, but a great game. I just feel more empowered to move around. I just feel way more empowered to move around. And in Ender Lilies, I just felt like everything felt clumsy. Her roll was clumsy. Having to time that roll with really fast attacks. She basically just flops on the ground. Bumblepan says, I'm doing that. I tried Forspoken on PlayStation Plus. It's okay. I might like it after a while, but it didn't grab me enough to force the issue, so I deleted it and moved on to something else. That's what I'm saying. That's how I felt about Tales of Iron. How did you feel about it, Mayhem? There were some issues with Tales of Iron. There were some things I took issue with. Yeah, Turok. I can't wait for Turok. The movement's way better. The rolling. Oh, the reason the rolling in Tales of Iron is so frustrating, there's no iframes. It feels clumsy like in Ender Lilies. At least in Ender Lilies, it's very generous with the iframes when she's rolling. You don't get iframes in Tales of Iron. It feels so clumsy. There were so many times where I felt like you can't get away. You're just going to take damage with the way the roll works in that game. If your positioning is in the wrong spot You basically have to just ankle bite every boss so that you're always in a position to roll out of the way. You have to like suction cup to the bosses in Tales of Iron. The iframes that threw me off. Here's the thing. There are no iframes in Tales of Iron. That's the problem. That's why it doesn't feel good. You'll be like, at times it feels like there are. At times it feels like you got iframes. No iframes. You have to literally move out of the way of the attack. And the best strategy is to suction cup your body to the boss so that the minute they do anything that's not parryable, you just roll through them. If you're far away from them, there are multiple times where like you're just going to take damage. You're not going to be able to get out of the way because the attack is going to like come across the screen and you can't like roll through it. You can't because there's no iframes. Why do people buy PlayStations instead of buying PC? For the same reason people buy anything. They look at the value proposition and they feel like it offers something that they like. There are plenty of people that probably say the inverse of that question. Why would you buy a PC when you can buy a PlayStation? There's plenty of people that are on either side. I welcome all kinds here. Whatever you prefer to do, you know, if you prefer to play on a PC, more power to you. I think there's really, really good reasons to play on a PC. I also think there's really good reasons to play on a console. It's just depending on what the consumer wants. Reckless says, I'm looking for a recent guide. Last Wednesday, found nothing. This really does a trick. Thanks, Lono. You're welcome. If you guys want to share that Returnal gameplay stream, man, share it with as many people as you can. How many minutes in do I start giving advice? How many minutes in? Can somebody get me a timestamp on that Returnal video? I want to know, at what point do I basically start the Returnal Beginner's Guide? I would like to timestamp that. We're doing this again, says Jack. The why would anybody buy a PlayStation, followed by the inevitable, hey, I'm just saying I like PC. You can play what you like. You know, he didn't follow it up with anything. He just asked the question. He's been here before. Insomniac Jamez has been here before. Oh, no, it's probably Insomniac James. He said, the other day, he said, Avowed has an estimated 113,000 sales for a profit of $6.7 million. I hope it gets better. I personally don't want to play it, but I don't want Microsoft to stop making games. I don't think we're dealing with like somebody who's just trying to stir the pot. Doesn't seem like a console warrior if he's saying that about Avowed. Anti-consumer was started by bots mostly and some PC dudes, which is funny, arguing that Microsoft is pro-consumer. Go research their history. It's funny, isn't it? I asked that question the other day. Have you seen the game Mandragora? I promoted Mandragora, Jason F. It was in one of my opens as a game for your wishlist and radar. Yeah, Mandragora looks pretty good. I asked that the other day. It's like, oh, PlayStation's anti-consumer, huh? Okay, can I ask you a question? You super pro PC guys. Is Nvidia pro-consumer? Is Nvidia pro-consumer? Is Microsoft pro-consumer? Are they? Has Microsoft done things that are, you know, giving you more choice and more volition? Have they? I mean, has that been their contribution to the market? I honestly would never buy a PlayStation unless they created a PC platform and an all-in-one package affordability and viability for next generation of games with modular upgrades. Yeah, I mean, you're basically saying I'll only ever buy a car if it's a time-traveling space station. Like, I don't think you're going to get that. I don't think you're gonna get that. Yeah, I mean, is Nvidia and AMD, like Intel, like are all these PC peripheral companies, are they trying to make gaming really affordable for you? I mean, that's pro-consumer, right? Isn't pro-consumer making gaming super affordable so that more people can game? Isn't pro-consumer making things very, very like low cost to the consumer so that more people can game? It seems kind of surprising that like the entrance point into PC gaming is actually really expensive. And the companies that make the peripherals seemingly like to charge lots of money for them. I don't know. Seems interesting. About the Destin talk, were you wrong? No, I was not wrong. Later that day, he intentionally omitted the entire section that we were talking about. The clip in question, Yoshida does not say what he claims he says. He lied about what Yoshida said. In the clip, Yoshida does not say that that's what PlayStation is doing. He specifically speaks to their strategy in the Chinese market. What these gentlemen are doing, the reason everybody's on the pro PC wavelength and the reason that they're misrepresenting what Yoshida said is because they're preemptively wanting to claim that Lost Soul aside, they're going to want to claim that it proves PlayStation's going day and date on PC. They want to gloss over and they want to keep you ignorant about the fact that PlayStation's strategy in China is very particular. It is not the exact same as their strategy in the US, and Yoshida makes that crystal clear. They don't want you to know that. That's what you should be questioning. I'm encouraging people to watch the entire clip, go support Sacred Symbols, subscribe to their Patreon, watch the entire interview. Don't look at a handful of quotes ripped from context that have been cherry-picked that intentionally omit when Yoshida speaks to the specifics of the strategy in the Chinese market. I'm telling you to go get more information. They're trying to give you less information, and you should want to know why. You should want to know why. Why are you trying to hide this from me? Why don't you want me to know that PlayStation has a particular strategy in the Chinese market? Why? Lost Soul Aside is a published game by PlayStation. Because it's published by PlayStation, it's considered first party. Because everybody was claiming that Ninja Gaiden 4 is first party for Xbox because Xbox doesn't own the studio or the IP, but they're publishing it. Phil Spencer himself said that if we're the ones publishing it, it's first party. And PlayStation considers the same thing. Herman Holst referred to Death Stranding 2 as a first-party game because they're the ones publishing it. This is the words that the companies use. These are the categories that the companies use. And they're going to try to blur the line this year to mislead the public and make you think PlayStation's doing the same thing Xbox did. And it's not true. I am going to bang on this drum so loud and so hard all year long. These guys are going to regret doing this. They're going to look foolish. They're going to walk out and say this, and anybody with half a brain is going to say, now hang on a minute. We've been hearing all year long that PlayStation's strategy in China is very particular and specific. This is not a first-party studio. This property is not owned by PlayStation. It's a publishing effort in the Chinese market. He never said they will go day and date. He actually said they wouldn't. He can say that now. I'm here to tell you they're going to want to use Lost Soul Aside. They're going to want to use Lost Soul Aside as evidence that PlayStation's doing what Xbox is doing. Just watch. Just watch. First Party is a game published and fully funded by Sony. They usually own the IP. Yeah, I don't think they own Lost Soul Aside. I don't think they do. Maybe they negotiated it and maybe they do. Mr. Grimm says, when you ask why and you get attacked for it, that's a clear indication that something shady is going on. Usually is the key word. Are you trying to hint at something, Street? Like, are they moving towards that? Behemoth says, it's a business decision to open in China, not the whole world. Countries do this to attract tourism they offer China better deals in other countries. We need to think outside the box. Okay, no, you're not hinting anything, okay. Sony also considered Death Stranding first party. The IP is owned by Kojima. Yeah, they published it and then they sold the rights back to him. Yeah, the publishing rights went to 505 and then the IP rights went back to Kojima. I think now he owns everything. He owns publishing rights and the IP. Yeah. I saw what Yuri Lowenthal said about Spider-Man 3. Corey says they need to bring Sony down to Microsoft's level to keep the console war going. With Microsoft going full third party and Sony not doing the same thing, there's nothing to farm engagement with. Exactly. It's going to be a continued frustration, and I am just going to hold firm on the facts. And if anybody's going to come in here and want to engage with me and actually engage with my content, I will happily have a dialogue with you. But I had people in my comments over the weekend, and it was crystal freaking clear that people were once again misrepresenting me in their content. That's fine. if that's what you want to do, you want to debase yourself to being a liar and misrepresenting people, that's your own choice. I will continue to make my positions very clear and very well known. And if you take the time to actually come and listen to what I say, I had a guy leave a comment that said, "You're the guy that thinks DLC makes a game live service." And I'm like, yep, you watched a clip of me or watched somebody react to me, because I've never said that. I've never said that. I said that DLC and ongoing content models could shift and change to carve a better pathway for live service games and ongoing games. I've not said that, oh yeah, DLC makes a game live service. It sounds like you're watching like a reductionistic Neanderthal who doesn't understand my position, so they misrepresent it. For clicks. You got to make me look dumb, right? That's the only way your brand works. Like, I can't imagine making your brand dependent on calling other people dumb. Like, okay? Imposter syndrome just out on Main Street. It just doesn't make sense to go full third party when you have a console that sells. This is something that I think people are failing to realize. The shift of one platform in the way that Xbox has shifted has basically cemented PlayStation and Nintendo's strategies. Like, the PlayStation Nintendo strategy just got firmly cemented as, why would we change? Why? You just made our job easier. You just made it easier for us to post profit every year. Like, that's what you need to ask people that are like, oh, this is the direction the industry's going. It's like, really? Because the two market leaders were just given pretty strong reasons to not change. What would change your mind? If Yote was finally announced to be on Steam the same time as PlayStation, would that change your mind? What would change my mind is if PlayStation said they're going to do it. I've made this very clear, Jake. If PlayStation was going to go day and date on PC, they would announce it to the shareholders, they would restructure their budgets, they would restructure their studios. It would be blatantly obvious, like it was obvious when the CFO of Xbox said they were doing it, when Phil said they were doing it, when Satya said they were doing it, and everybody said, nope, they're just talking about ABK. You don't understand context. You sure about that? You sure that I wasn't? We didn't understand context. You understood context, right? Not me. Sure. You'll know it because they'll tell you they're going to do it. Companies of this size don't keep this thing a secret. Well, unless it's Xbox and they want to keep all their evangelists in line. Would it? I feel like it would be hidden. No. Listen. They talked to the shareholders frankly about this. Herman Hull spoke frankly about it. You can't hide restructure of studios, Jake. You can't. They would be hiring and allocating budgetary line items for this. You would know that things are changing. It would be obvious. It would. I said earlier today, if they come to the decision, let's just say that we're halfway through the PlayStation 6 gen, and they say, it's better for the health of our studios, it's better for the future of the franchise, it's better for profit to restructure and go parallel development. We've hit market saturation with our console in China and India and everywhere else. It's time to go parallel development. It's time to go day and date on PC. Okay? If they make that decision, I don't care. My only concern has always been the quality of the game. You might not have been here, Jake. I said this earlier today, so your question is like right on target of something I've already directly addressed. I said, if Ghost of Tsushima 3 is a multi-plat release on PC and PlayStation, you playing it on PC the same day as me, it does nothing to my experience. Do you want to know what directly affects my experience? The quality of the game. That's it. That's all I've ever cared about. I didn't care that Helldivers 2 was day and date. I celebrated Returnal and Tsushima going to PC. Now, why did I criticize The Last of Us Part 1 going too quickly and Spider-Man 2 going to PC quickly? What did I criticize? The quality. It hurts the product, it hurts the brand, it hurts the franchise, and consumers get a bad product. I was not critical of you took my precious game to PC too quickly. I don't care about that. I care about quality. When you're consistent in your position, it's not hard to respond to hypotheticals, or in this case, to a real situation of you guys pushed Spider-Man 2 to PC too fast, and the result was a port that is not ready, that is glitchy, that is buggy, bad scores. That's a mistake. Every time. Every time that's a mistake. There's no justification. When you own Insomniac and Nixxes, having a bad PC port is an embarrassment. That's an embarrassment. That shouldn't happen, ever. 10 spot from Street Shadow. First party is published and fully funded by PlayStation. Second is published or partial funding. Usually doesn't own the IP. Partner is launching. Yeah. We went through those distinctions the other day, Street Shadow. Yeah. I know what you're getting at. You're saying that, like, yes, these China Hero games are first party, but they're abnormal because it's a published effort where they don't own the studio or the IP. It's a very particular strategy, which adds to the nuance of the discussion to make it very clear that this is a very particular thing. You've got to be able to look at all the different things they're doing and properly categorize them. Nixxes got relegated to remaster remake duty for older properties for PS5 release. Probably because there's no porting that needs to be done right now. We need one more super chat for Confetto. What would they port? No, seriously, think about it. What would they be porting right now? Returnal's been ported. Ratchet's been ported. Horizon Forbidden West has been ported. Spider-Man 2 has been ported. God of War Ragnarok has been ported. What's left? Is there anything left? They've had a break in first party, so there's nothing left to port. Death Stranding 2? Yeah, that'll be later, though. That's probably already in production, and I don't know if that'll be handled by Nexus. JW, you are genuinely cursed. He says confetti, and he's one late. A 5 spot from Siriu. Hang on, let me reset the super chat goal. Oh my gosh. I will gift a member. Oh, that is just too funny. Sirius says they also pretend that none of these moves were telegraphed in Microsoft earnings calls and interviews. If Sony does it, it won't be a surprise. Yeah, Xbox only kept it a secret via Phil Spencer and astroturfing liars. Seriously. Xbox shifting to this, just track with me on this. This is so important. This is like vital to your media literacy. Xbox and Microsoft signaled really, really loudly that this is the direction they were going. And they only kept it quiet and they only kept it back. What did they do? They used outlets, podcasts, and talking heads to go, no. This isn't happening. No. This isn't happening. That was the only reason that the strategy was even questioned or in doubt. It wasn't in question or in doubt from anybody with eyeballs. It was like, huh? Thank you, Andrew, for renewing your membership. If you want to count towards the goal, you got to bump up off of member light. I'm going to be... No, I'm not an Agent of Chaos. Sorry, I pushed the wrong button. I'm not an Agent of Chaos. I thought we were at 50. We're not. I owe you guys a single member, though, from the Super Chats. Let me do that now. Like, if you really think about it, if the gaming press and the outlets would have treated those earnings calls like they were, I don't know, financial advisors, or if they would have treated it like they were doing analysis of business decisions as opposed to like cheering for a brand, they all would have said the same thing. They would have said, yeah, Xbox is clearly moving into a position of publishing more like a third party than thinking about their own platform first. But they all refused to say it because they were either given reason not to, I don't know, they were given, talking points in the background. Okay. I just feel like this needs to be researched. Like, the astroturfing just feels so obvious to me. So obvious. They all just happened to say the same things last year. That seems awfully coincidental, doesn't it? Doesn't that seem kind of coincidental that they were all just sort of saying, yeah, it's just these 4. They're not going to bring over everything. Calling the titles like B-tier titles. They're not that big. They're not that important. Why? Why did they all say that? You don't think that's interesting? You don't think it's interesting that for basically the entirety of 2024, they were all saying very similar things. And now they're doing it again. What makes it worse is I saw the confetti and thought that I had gotten it. Oh well, next time. Sorry, JW. They're doing it again. See, don't you see? It's like nothing has changed. All of 2024, we heard the same. We heard the same obfuscation and the same framing about all of this, and then mysteriously, we're 2 months into 2025, and they're doing it again. They're all saying the same things. It's like, okay, I can't. It just feels like astroturfing. I said this last week, but I think an upload, taking the game media to task, pointing out the individual false narratives, then the moment they're proven wrong, kind of demanding better. I've thought about doing a video about that. I just don't know how to approach it that doesn't sort of veer off course and not be... I don't want it to be something that is out of my... like the way we make content. Thank you, Joker Quinn, for the $2 super chat. Xbox should make an Astrobot competitor called AstroTurf. We got some more questions submitted by members. MikeyBot says, do you think Sony will be able to do anything about the flood of AI-generated trophy bait games on the PlayStation Store? They seemingly removed a bunch of games recently. I don't think there's a hidden conspiracy to convey the same message. I think they just see the message from one outlet and they echo the same message. There's a part of me that's just gotten very cynical, Mash, and maybe that's something that, I need to work on. But I just, there's a suspicion level and a cynicism in me that rises, and it's like, I don't know. We were told that these guys get the news early so they can soften the blow. We were told that. I believe that was sometime last year. It's really, really difficult for me to be like, it's just all a strange coincidence. I don't think we'll see Avowed 2. I don't know why they kind of copied Concord's art direction. They didn't copy Concord's art direction, for Pete's sakes. For Pete's sakes. And I thought they already said that Avowed's done well enough that they're looking into continuing the franchise. I think Xbox is happy with Avowed's success. I think MASH is speaking to coordination, not intent. I mean, yeah, maybe. The director definitely hinted at it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If people are trying to make it seem as though like Avowed completely and utterly flopped. And Andrew upgrades to Member Plus, and that's worth $2. There it is. Yeah, I renamed the base membership to Member Lite. I want it to be crystal clear when someone goes to sign up brand new that, like, you don't want Member Lite, you want Member Plus. Like, Member Lite is like an introductory thing for gifted members. They get most of the content, but not all. Like, you don't get access to the green room at Member Lite. Did I use collusion improperly there? Yeah, I think what MASH is saying is this isn't some big conspiracy theory thing where they're like colluding to all say the same thing. They see one of the more major outlets say it and they all just kind of run with it. Or they see Phil say it and they all just kind of run with it. That's possible. Paul says, we couldn't be happier with the team at Tango Gameworks, and they delivered with a surprise release. Balatro wins the formal appeal to reclassify their poker game as Peggy 12. Good. Good. How was your weekend? It was great. How was yours? I did 11 hours of Avowed now. I stick with my 7 out of 10, says MASH. If I did half scores, I would give it a 7 out of 10, 7.5. It's a fairly decent game in my opinion, but forgettable. And Zet comes back in as a VIP plus and gets the member line to 44. Thank you so much for doing that. Balatro is trash? Huh? What are you talking about? Everybody's loving it. It's a super popular game. And it was made by like one guy. Why would you call that game trash? Zubair said, who said that? It's possible Phil and Xbox at large do stuff to ingratiate themselves to the Xbox tubers, and they bank on creating bias and a sense of camaraderie with them. People like trash poker, trash at that. Okay. All right. I have 36 hours in Avowed, and I'm still in the it's great camp. If I have to give it a score, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. No romance holds it back for me a tiny bit. Reckless says, I was referencing the Discord we learned about. I call that collusion, but I guess that could be going too far. It is kind of hard to see something like that Discord come to light and not think that, yeah, these guys are getting together and saying, hey, this is what we say. This is how we kind of spin this, right? Like, they were doing that. They were literally using a Discord to do that. So, you know what I mean? Oh, wait, Zet, that was an upgrade? I'll check it on the back. Wait, what Discord? Hang on. Let me check in the background. I think he already was at VIP Plus. Creature says, it's kind of hard to hear creators admit that Microsoft gives them marching orders and then think that they don't. Yeah. Oh no, Zet upgraded 0 days ago. That was an upgrade. Here, I'll bump the line. We're now 5 members away from the 50 mark where I owe you guys some more members. Somebody could drop a 5 bomb right now. We are at 579 member plus and above. We are right back. That's our all-time record of 579. We need 20 people to upgrade, and we'll celebrate with like an IRL stream on a weekend, dude. Like a reverse here. You're poor. Well, if you hang out long enough, you might get a gifted in. MASH brings it home and gets us to 50, and I owe you guys 5 more members. Thank you so much, MASH, for setting it up. We're halfway to the pace for the day. We need about 100 a day, and you guys nail it with your renewals, with your upgrades, with your gifting. Y'all are the best. Big names are in that Discord, so yes, it's coordination. Now, and a 5 bomb from Quintar gets us to 55 and sets it up, and then that's an Agent of Chaos, and then it's going to go to 56. Thank you, Joker. I'm sorry, Patrick wanted the Agent of Chaos, but Quintar beat him to it with the 5 bomb. We're now 20 away from the next milestone of me owing you guys 5, and I'll do my 5 right now. I've been doing them like right away, just to let y'all know. Keep that momentum going. There's the 5 that I owe. Boom. And then 12 months at Member Plus from Alfonso. Hey, it's been a year. Congrats on the 1-year badge. Appreciate you so much. Bumping the member count to 57. Thanks so much for sticking with me, Alfonso. Even if a year after release, I think people can wait a year for it to come over to your system. Therefore, no need to go buy that system. What are you guys specifically talking about? I don't think, after what happened with Spider-Man 2, I don't think they're going to shrink the window of games coming to PC. I think they're going to go back to making you wait like a year and a half to 2 years. It was like 14 months for Spider-Man 2, and it's a dadgum disaster. You know what I mean? I think they're going to make you wait 1.5 to 2 years now. And Death Knight upgrades to VIP Plus. Now, Death Knight, I think you were already at Member Plus and above. So that does count as a double to 59, but I don't know if that's going to increase our Member Plus and above count. I think you were already in that bucket. You just moved up the ladder within that bucket. Like, I can't change that. That's not something I have the ability to change. I will double check, though, and see where that puts us. Yeah, 579. Yeah, you were already, I believe, at a Member Plus. I appreciate the increased support, though. That is very, very kind of you. I'm going to count it right now as a double, but I can't change the total on the back end. I don't have that ability. Does anyone else struggle with the large RPG type games, says Jake? I spend so much time exploring, and I finally get back to the story, I think, what's going on again? I started to feel that a little bit in Dragon Age the Veilguard. I was like, it was just too much. It was too much. It was like, what the frick, man? Part of it was the side quests were really disorganized. I really wanted the side quest to basically be like organizer, to basically say, here's where this is, here's where that is, and then I could know, like, okay, I've got 3 things to do in that area now. I'm going to go do them all at once. They made it really, really hard to, like, side quest stack. It was tough. Oh, Stonespire says, I didn't know there was an ID show today. What do you think we will see? I don't know. We should probably co-stream it. I don't know if we need to make a new... Well, I don't think we need to make a new thumbnail or anything like that. I think we'll just watch it. We like to cover live events like that, but I forgot to make the thumbnail and the title. I forgot all about it. We'll probably also have to, like, immediately shut down from there and go to Green Room, so I have time to plan. I have a call with YouTube today at, like, 5. So, Bumblepants says, will you be getting the Horizon Zero Dawn Lego Sawtooth this Saturday? I mean, Legos are so stinking expensive, I kind of hold off, and then the kiddos get them for me for, like, birthdays and Christmases. Like, that's something they like to do. I typically don't spend money on myself like that. Train with a VIP. Another month. Glad to be here. Thank you so much for being here and catching the live show. We're now at 60 members on the week. Thank you so much, Train, for sticking with me. What have you got planned for the next game stream? Probably Monster Hunter Wilds this week. I want to see how it runs on the Pro. I'm very interested because the Pro is going to use PSSR for the upscaling and the base PS5 is going to use FSR1, and FSR1 ain't that great. Mash says, my view is that some content creators push a narrative, they talk to others to do it, and they filter out dissenting views independent of Xbox. It helps explains why they feel so hurt if Xbox doesn't engage them. Gonna be anywhere else? Thank you, Train. Can't believe we didn't get a DLC of Spider-Man 2. I still think it's because they're planning on doing like a small $40 or $50 game with Venom. You know? I really feel like that's what's going on. You're invited to a festival workshop. I am good. Before it starts when I finish work, so it's all good. Appreciate you, Death Knight. I vote for more Returnal gameplay. Last week was awesome. You guys have got to understand, whenever we have a successful gameplay stream like that, it's not an indication that I can do that on a regular basis. That was us making a targeted choice, and it worked, and you guys supported it. I could not do regular Returnal gameplay and it get good results. It would slowly diminish. Are you a Ghost of Tsushima fan if you don't have this limited edition sake bottle? I mean, I've considered myself an enormous Ghost of Tsushima fan, but I don't have that bottle, no. Lono has tried so many times to get regular gameplay working, it hasn't worked. I will say this, there is the distinct possibility that we are in a new era for the channel since we are above 50,000 subscribers, and that's like enough people that will take an interest in something like that. But the difficulty is, are they going to take interest over and over again? Oh, he's back in Returnal. Let me go watch. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if 30% of the viewership from that video was simply because I kept talking about it and was excited for Saros, and people were like, yo, let me check out this game. Well, that interest isn't sustained the next time I go in. They're like, yeah, we saw you play it, bud. Like, if you play Mon Hunt, mad people will watch. Oh, I'm sure the Monster Hunter stream will be worth doing. What we're talking about is you're not going to see me do parts 1 through 20 of Monster Hunter Wilds. That's just not the brand and vibe that I bring. It doesn't work anyway. Like, I have to use the afternoons to create content. Like, I've got a limited time frame every day to be productive. I can't be like what I used to do. I would play a game all the way until it was almost dinner time, because the next day all I had to do was boot up, hit live, and talk Destiny. I don't have that luxury now. I got to plan a show. I got to type up an outline. I got to go do research. I got to read articles. I got to grab, so I give you guys solid gaming news, and because I know what's going on in the world, I've got to record videos. I've got to, you know what I mean? There's only so many hours in a day. I can't be like playing a video game until dinner like I used to. It just doesn't work. Liquid Smoke with 45 months and a member plus. Thank you so much. That bumps the line to 61. We're basically trying to make me wear two hats. I'm a live streamer, but I'm also now having to be a YouTuber. I've got to do the YouTube stuff, you know? I can't just like lazily hit live every day and be like, yeah, we're just going to hang out, and then I'm going to play a video game, and then I'm going to do this. It's like, we don't have that luxury. Didn't you see that Obsidian wanted Avowed to be a Destiny Skyrim-like game? I saw that. I feel like people are kind of dogpiling on Avowed, and I just didn't want to do that. I feel like I played it. I said my piece about it, and I didn't really feel like dogpiling. I feel like a lot of the takes about it are disingenuous and motivated by console tribalism, and I don't feel like being continued to be put into that bucket. Now, they won't clip this or give me credit for this. They ignore things like this because they're liars. So I just didn't see the point in dogpiling. I'm like, it's not a game for me. I gave it a shot. It seems to be doing fine. I don't think it's flopping. I don't think it's soaring. I think it's doing fine. And there's no reason to choose one of those narratives. I think there are Bleed Green guys that are acting like it's, you know, it's the paragon of game design. It's not. And then there are haters who are acting like it's a miserable failure. I just think both sides are idiots. I think they're all idiots. I think it's doing fine. I don't think it's dogpiling. First-party games from console makers have higher visibility than your average third-party games. I don't think Xbox first-party games have had that category or threshold or prestige for a long time. I don't expect greatness from them. I expect games with the random breakouts. I would never expect such tepid responses to first-party PlayStation games. I kind of expect it from Xbox. It's just what I expect from them at this point. They haven't shown me a reason to think differently. I would love for that to change. I would love for that to change with Doom the Dark Ages or Fable or the next Gears. You know, I would love to be like, wow, they have a couple 9s all of a sudden. They've got some 9s. They've got some game. I would love to see their games get nominated for Game of the Year. I'd love to see them hit that standard of excellence. I feel like they've delivered fine to bad very consistently this gen. And then you have some breakouts. You have like Forza Horizon 5, Hi-Fi Rush, and Indie were all very strong. Everything else is pretty, you know, tepid to bad in my estimation. And that's just what I expect from them. I don't feel like Microsoft sets their studios up to create excellent games. I think it's Microsoft's fault. It's not Xbox's fault. It's Microsoft's fault. I've tried to drive this home time and time again. Demanding better can also look like dogpiling. I don't have anything more to say about it. I didn't play it anymore. You know? Receipt pulling people that said it was going to be a Skyrim killer. Listen. Receipt pulling fools is pointless. They don't care. They're fools. I gained nothing by receipt pulling a bunch of buffoons who were like hyping up Avowed to the upper echelons of heaven itself and being like, yeah, it's not a Skyrim killer. Haha. It's like, who cares? You're receipt pulling buffoons. Who the frick cares? They're just a bunch of fools and court jesters. Like, wow, a bunch of people overhyped a game and said dumb stuff, and the dumb stuff didn't end up being true. I know. Wow, that'd make a great video and a great show. You see what I'm saying? I said what I had to say about it. I played it, and I was really lukewarm to it, and was, you know, obviously disappointed because some of the reviews made it seem like I might like it, and I didn't, and that's okay. The console was crap. Console war crap was all those fun games when I was like 15 or 16, but now all the console wars are pushing 40, acting like they're still in high school. I'm over it. Right, James? And it's just like, I'll be critical, and I'll speak the truth, and I'll talk about where I landed as a consumer because of everything Xbox did. But I'm not going to play this game of like, well, I'm going to dogpile on Avowed and celebrate it not doing, you know, incredibly, stupidly well. Yeah! Like, okay. No, Windows Central did not give it a 70. They need to fix Jez's score on Metacritic. Jez gave it an 80. Xbox Era gave it a 75, which is extremely interesting. They scored Monster Hunter Wilds lower than Redfall. So I just... I mean, come on, boys. Jiminy Christmas. Like, yeah, this game here, its review embargo just dropped. Likely headed to a Game of the Year nominated state, and Xbox Era scored it lower than Redfall. So, good job, boys. Jiminy Christmas. But hey, you know, they blocked me on Twitter, and they got to interview Phil Spencer, so... Golly goodness. Was it the same reviewer? I don't know. That Redfall review is just going to eternally haunt them. They shouldn't have done that. It was not deserving of that score. They should not have done that. That game was in such piss poor state at launch. Giving it an 8 is just... Golly, that's embarrassing. Why would you do that to yourself? When we were talking with Madam about finding ways to correlate all the various scores and make sense of them with the system, my point was that we do it automatically with experience. We remember. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it was the same person. It's just, listen. When you got a game that's burning up the reviews, right? You got a game that's burning up the reviews, and you're going to come out and call it wildly, he called it wildly disappointing, right? Let me see. Okay, Xbox Era Redfall review. Is it the same guy, Eugene? Yeah, I think Eugene just found it. It's the same dude. Yeah, there you go. Okay, perfect. What do you want me to say? Jake says it was the same person. I'm sorry. You're allowed to have your own opinions. I'm never going to tell somebody that their score is wrong. The score can't be wrong. It represents what you think. And you just told the world that you thought Redfall got a better score than this game here that is likely headed to the Game of the Year podium. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just speaking in facts. I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I'm not telling your score is wrong. The fact of the matter is, you gave Redfall a better score than Monster Hunter Wilds. I've not played Monster Hunter Wilds, but it's being critically acclaimed as a must-play game, likely headed for Game of the Year nomination. And you gave a game that was broken and busted and incomplete at launch a better score than Monster Hunter Wilds. So, you know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. Now again, Jez gave it an 8. Jez's score is not tabulating properly on Metacritic. That happened to somebody else once, and I DM'd them and they fixed it. So Jez is going to have to reach out to Metacritic and say, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Last I checked, that's not a 70. So sometimes I think the API misfires. Avowed looks decent. I'm really interested in the lore and the versatility in the combat, but even some of my diehard Xbox friends seem to have moved off of it. I think the biggest struggle for a game like Avowed is... So I ran into this with Veilguard. A good game isn't good enough for me to keep going. Does that make sense? Because you hit the ceiling of good and you're like, I don't know if I want to do this for another 20 hours. Like, this is good. This is fine. This is passable. This is okay. Well, do you want to play that for another 20 hours after your first 10? You just can't get enough? Well, no. Of course, you're going to walk away from it. Like, think about it. Just track with me on this. You've got Monster Hunter Wilds coming. You've got, Mafia the Old Country coming. Borderlands 4. Ghosts of Yote. Death Stranding 2. There are so many games coming. Are you really going to do that? Are you really going to be like, yeah, I'm going to put 30 hours into this game that is fine? That's just kind of where I am right now. Like, when I got... mildly irritated by, Ender Lily's combat and the clumsy roll, I just switched to the sequel and I'm having a significantly better time. Well, I got limited playtime, man. I'm trying to move further my backlog, so I'm just gonna make that call. I could totally see people doing that with Avowed. They're like, it's fine, it's fun, and then after 10 hours, they're gonna be like, I'm good, and they'll put it down. Now, there are other people that are loving it. They're going to go the distance. They're going to put in, 50, 60 hours. Good for them. But I'm here to tell you, when a game is just kind of good enough to hold your attention for a little bit, you might not be able to go the distance with it. You might not be able to. Vice King says, Redfall at an 8. That's not even a game review at that point. That's just a lie. Like, you're being willfully dishonest. You can claim that, Spice King. I have a pretty serious problem with a game launching in the state that Redfall launched, getting a good score from anybody. I just find that to be troublesome. I think that's troublesome. It's like, no, wait just a minute here. You're telling the public that this game is basically worthy of attention and purchase. It wasn't even ready for launch. It was busted, broken. It was so bad that the studio's gone. And they canceled the DLC. Like, you got to be careful, man. What are you doing? Like, even my view of, like, Kill the Justice League, I was like, yeah, solid 8. I'm having a fun time. And I lowered my score at the end. I was like, yeah, it's like a 7. It's just a bad live service game. It had some fun loops and some fun stuff, but that was it. It was there was nothing to it. I didn't, stick to my guns. It's like, no. I was like, yeah. My first impressions were this is landing sort of in an 8, and then it lowered to a 7.5, and then it lowered to a 7. And it was like, yeah, that's just a bad live service game. That was an enormous flop and a big mistake. They fixed most of the stuff in Redfall. Still some minor issues. I still find Pete Hines' commentary before he left to be very interesting. I thought that was interesting, the way he handled that. Acting like that's a game that should be supported long term because it's on Game Pass. I wasn't sure if he was trying to was he trying to stick the screws to Xbox because he knew what they were going to do and he wanted them to look like they didn't make good. You guys remember that, right? Like, when Pete Hines said that, I remember thinking, like, is he getting a jab in? Like, yeah, that's the kind of game that should be supported. Suicide Squad wasn't broken at launch either. Yeah, Kill the Justice League wasn't broken at launch. It was playable. The combat worked, the abilities worked, the world worked, the AI worked. You know, it had actual cutscenes, not like animated concept art. You know what I mean? That had to be, looking back, that's one of the weirdest things about Redfall. They had really, really great cutscenes for their commercials, and they weren't in the game. Do you remember that? That was so weird. It was like, wait, where are all the cutscenes? The marketing had amazing cutscenes, and then in the games, like, they just weren't there. It was so bizarre. I will never understand that choice. Why wouldn't they use them? Five is mediocre, meaning middle of the road. 5 is between 0 and 10. Okay, listen, nobody says that and genuinely means that. If you saw a game right now with a 5 out of 10 or a 50%, like on Steam or on Xbox or PlayStation, you saw that it basically had 2.5 stars. It has a 50% of 5. No one would say, yeah, that's mediocre. You'd say, well, that's trash. That's trash. No, nobody actually believes that. Nobody's being like, yeah, that's probably a pretty mediocre game. 5 out of 10. It's halfway between 0 and 1. You're being like pedantically, mathematically rigid, and it's just not true. It's like nobody thinks that way. Nobody. Averages are based on the actual scores given, not the scale. If everyone gets 100, the average is 100, not 50. I'm tired of yelling about this. Right. The problem with saying 50 is average, it's mediocre. No, it's not. Because if a game gets a 5, like a 50%, what that means is a ton of people gave it 2s and 3s. You see? If the average is 5, that's not an average score or a mediocre score. What that means is it got a ton of bad scores. It had people giving it like 2s. You know? Vice King says, that's what I'm saying essentially. In nearly all cases, review scores are subjective. It's all opinions. However, when you give a game that is broken at launch as Redfall an 8, that's dishonesty. That game doesn't deserve that score, and you know it. I will admit it feels like misrepresentation. I will admit that. But, you know, what are you going to do? If somebody's like, I played it, I had fun, I stand by my review, okie dokie. No, okie dokie. Yes, Insider Gaming is claiming there are copies of AC Shadows in the wild. I have seen spoilers. I have seen good feedback. Doc Dark, are you here? You're having a hard time. You're having a hard time, my friend. He said, you're misunderstanding my point. You said that Astrobot beat some pretty big name titles. My question is, what pretty big name titles did it beat? Astrobot itself was a huge big name title for Sony, and it released recently. It better be up there. So now, what did it beat? Doc, I already told you, it beat everything below it. It sold more than Minecraft, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Helldivers 2, and Hogwarts Legacy. Those are some of the biggest titles in the frickin' world. Minecraft and Hogwarts Legacy are ongoing sold games just like Astrobot. Astrobot's been out for months, and it was number 5. It beat those games. It sold more copies in those games. Doc, this isn't tough. This isn't difficult, Doc. This isn't difficult, Doc. I love you, but this is simple. This is pedestrian, mate. It ranked higher in January than some of the biggest titles in the market. Well, they didn't come out recently. So the frick what? This is a big achievement, dude. Astrobot has climbed from, where was it? It was like 8th. It was last month it was 5th, and before that it was 8th, I think. I think it went from 8th to 5th and then maintained 5th. Homie, that's crazy.
These are Minecraft and Hogwarts Legacy are two of the biggest titles in the dadgum world with respect to commercial sales. It doesn't matter when they came out. Ongoing sales of those titles proves they are consistently charting in the top. Astrobot beat them in the month of January. That is an achievement. If this was an Xbox game charting higher than these titles, you would say that's a pretty big achievement. That's not just January, that's the whole year? No, look right here. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the whole year. Oh my gosh! It's even more significant. It's even more significant. I thought this was for January. I misread the chart. I thought it said January 5th, 2025 to February 1st. This is even more significant. Wait, no, it says January 2025 top 10 selling games. But then it says reporting period. I think that's a typo. I read this first line. January 2025 top best-selling games on PlayStation platforms. This has got to be for January. I don't think that Astrobot outsold Hogwarts Legacy last year. All year. There's no way. That's got to be a typo. This is for January only. There is no freaking way that Astrobot outsold Helldivers 2, for Pete's sakes. We know for a fact it didn't outsell Helldivers 2 last year. Helldivers 2 is one of the fastest, most sold PlayStation games like in history. There's no way. No. This is just for January. This reporting period is a typo. That's not that. Yeah. Up here tells you what it is. It's for January 2025. That's supposed to say 1/5/2025. They probably used the same form as last year and they forgot to update it. The point is, that is an enormous achievement. If you had an Xbox game come out in September of last year and in January it was outselling Minecraft, Spider-Man 2, Dragon Ball, Helldivers 2, and Hogwarts Legacy, you'd say, dadgummit, that's a pretty good game. That game's selling well. It's beating big titles. It came out in September. What are we even talking about? You don't have to have new games in January for me to say this game's beating some big titles. Games continue to sell every month, and Minecraft and Hogwarts especially have continually sold very well every month they've been out. To be above those games is an achievement. Oh, do you want to know why it's an achievement? Do you really want to twist your noodle on this? Minecraft is multi-plat. Hogwarts is everywhere. It's on the Switch, for crying out loud. This is a single platform game. It is a single platform game. And it's above multi-plat, Leviathan, monolithic titles. You want to downplay it because, well, nothing came out that month. You're not even understanding my argument. It's like, these are games that chart every month. They're enormous. They're mega popular. They're household names on multiple platforms. And Little Homie is above them on the chart. Little Homie's in 5th. That chart's only PlayStation sales? Okay. That's fair. This is only PlayStation sales. But the point, Eugene, is that makes these games far more popular and far more well-known. Everybody knows Minecraft. Everybody knows Hogwarts Legacy. They're on every dadgum platform. So yes, this is only PlayStation, but still, these are games that we know every single month on PlayStation. Hogwarts and Minecraft chart every month on PlayStation. They're big, gigantic, super well-known titles that everybody is aware of. These are household names at this point. It's the fact that Astrobot is behind. Look, it's behind Call of Duty. It's behind Madden, EA Sports. Like, this is the company it's keeping. It's in this group. It's in the top 5. It's in this group. It's hanging out with the big boys, dude. It's hanging out with the big boys. It'd be like going to a wedding and all of a sudden you get seated with the celebrities. You'd be like, what the frick? Hanging out with the big dogs. What's going on?
Astrobot came out in September. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero came out in October. The fact that Astrobot's selling more than Dragon Ball is pretty good. That's what I'm saying, bro. Oh my gosh. It's remarkable the lengths that people will go to try to downplay Little Homie. Little Homie won award after award after award. Oh, and by the way, here's something to consider. Last month, Minecraft was in 10th. They clearly did something to jump up to 6th. They jumped up 4 spots, right? Astrobot's still above it. Come on, man. Hogwarts Legacy, for whatever reason, jumped from 12th to 10th. Helldivers jumped from 16th to 9th. This thing jumped 7. These games were making moves. These games were getting, content pushes and relevancy pushes. And Astrobot's just hanging out above them. Game of the Year will do that? That's what I'm saying. People try to downplay the Game of the Year winner, whether it's at Keeley's thing or DICE. Homie, when you're getting Game of the Year, it does. It's a big deal. It pushes you into more people's homes. People buy. They're like, oh, I've got to check out that game. Is this... Okay, so this is across all platforms. Here you go. Again, you twist your noodle on this, dude. So this is January. Again, this is a typo. This is for January. This is Nintendo, PlayStation, Steam, and Xbox. Astrobot is in the top 20. You know what I'm saying, bro? Elden Ring just had a bunch of relevancy because of a DLC and an announcement of Elden Ring Night Reign. It's still above Dragon Ball. So these are multi-plat. Dragon Ball's on multi-plat. This is all the platforms. Elden Ring, multi-plat. Come on. It's two spots down from Hogwarts. You can literally buy Hogwarts on every platform, old gen, current gen, and the Nintendo Switch. This is the company that Astrobot's keeping. And people want to act like it didn't do well, it didn't sell well, it only sold a certain percentage to the PlayStation 5. Jiminy Christmas. We went from no one bought Astrobot to Astrobot outperforming Indiana Jones in sales. Yeah, a recognizable major motion picture IP with the marketing arm of Xbox. Come on, man. Put some respect on Astrobot's name, dude. That little man stands tall. He does. He's a killer. He's a killer. I told y'all when I saw that trailer. When I saw that trailer, I said, that's a Game of the Year right there. That's a Game of the Year contender, bro. You can see it. It's like when you see a trailer for Oppenheimer. You're like, well, there's an Oscar contender for Best Picture. You just know it. You just know it. As soon as you see the trailer for certain movies, you're like, oh, that thing's gunning for the Best Picture award. 100%. The game could sell 20 million copies. I'm still not buying. Well, and here's the problem with the whole narrative of like, oh, it only sold a certain percentage, and blah, 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 blah. Well, then that means everything below it was a failure and a flop then, right? Right? Like, Dragon Ball is a multi-platform release, so that's more potential customers, and it's below Astrobot. So basically, the people that argue that Astrobot flopped because it only sold to a certain percentage of PS5 users, it outsold Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball sold to more potential users. Ergo, according to their logic, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is an abysmal failure. It is an abysmal failure because it sold to an even smaller percentage of its potential user base because it was available to more users. I mean, they might struggle with this. They probably don't know how to do basic math, right? I'm not one to get boastful about math, but like, it's pretty basic math here. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero was sold to more potential people than Astrobot. So anybody saying Astrobot flopped and failed because it only sold to a small percentage of the PS5 user base, they just argued that Dragon Ball is a total flop. It was available to far more people.
Super Mario Party Jamboree, I mean, that's available to like 150 million Switch owners. You know? The logic never works. It never works. It's never consistent. If you apply their logic to any other game, then every single game is a dadgum flop. Every multi-plat is an abysmal failure because it only sells to a very small percentage of the potential market. They swear that using the attachment rate argument is the smoking gun. Right, and then when you use the attachment rate argument against every other video game in existence, they just argue that all video games flop. This is monthly sales, not lifetime, so... Right, but they came out in the same window of time, homie. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and Astrobot came out in the same window of time. So yes, it's fair to compare their monthly sales and to say, I mean, Dragon Ball is selling to a larger audience and it's not charting above Astrobot, so it must be abysmally failing. It must be flopping hard. I'm not saying that it is. I'm saying that argument just doesn't hold. It's like, what? You misunderstood me? Well, what did you mean? Guys, in 15 minutes, we're not going to reschedule and do a new stream. In 15 minutes, we are going to co-stream the Xbox ID event. If you like indie games, we're going to check that out. Make sure and smash the like button. Try to get us to 400 likes. We can kind of go into that co-stream with a lot of strength. How many PCs are there in the market? And we got games selling 5 million copies at launch. Flops. Right. According to their logic, like Dragon's Dogma 2 horribly flopped. It sold 3 million in the same time that FF16 did, and Dragon's Dogma 2 was on like multiple platforms. I'm saying that 1.5 million is bad, doesn't hold up, because the game could still sell 5 million in 2025. Is that a failure? No. Oh, I see what you're saying, Hoodridge. We don't know lifetime sales yet for Astrobot, for sure. We finally got a trailer for Andor Season 2. April 22nd. Oh. So we get a little Daredevil. We get a little bit of that. Dixie Devs worked on it. Oh, yeah. When that small of a team works on a game that sells that well, that's a huge win for them. Holy crap. That's why Helldivers 2 is such a shining beacon for them. That's another small studio that blew their expectations out of the water. The profit margins on Helldivers 2 has to be dumb. It has to be absolutely dumb. Such a small team. Production cost and the marketing. They didn't spend that much on marketing for Helldivers 2. They marketed it. They did, but not... They didn't like go crazy. The profit margins for Helldivers 2 has to be so insane. Like that game is cemented. That's a cemented franchise. Like there'll be a third game. Like that game is good for at least 10 more years, no doubt. The funding is there. Like they're fine. The production cost that went into that game versus the money it generated. Thank PC. Yeah, that's the only reason it was commercially successful. Yeah, it went viral, and all sales seemed to indicate that it was a pretty close split. And then it favored PC 60-40. But that 40, take that 40 away, and that's a big chunk. That's almost half. Like, come on. Like, take that 40 away. That's a pretty good chunk of the group. I've always admitted that it did better on PC. It did. It had a better player base. It had more regular Steam. The Steam chart player numbers were clearly stronger, and the sales were stronger. That doesn't mean that it wasn't like a commercial Leviathan for them. Like, it did incredibly well. And the production that went into it was just... That's why it was good they didn't respond and, like, overhire and mushroom up in response. That would have been a huge mistake. In 2024, 4 million people played indie. Estimates say 1.8 billion PC gamers. 4 million represents approximately 0.2% of the 1.8 billion. Flop. There you go. Helldivers 2 is such a good game with legs. Just played over the weekend. Yeah. Every once in a while when I've gone back to it, I've had fun with it. We went back recently and we're driving around the trucks and stuff. We had a good time. You know? Yo, it's good, Croquill. How are you? Guys, make sure as you come in, go through your ritual of hitting the like button. Let's aim for 400 likes.
We're going to be watching an Xbox independent show here in a little bit. You have trucks now, vehicle, whatever you call it. Yeah. I wrecked it a bunch. And make sure you guys check if you have a renewal to celebrate. Hit that $ at the bottom of the chat. I've now properly labeled all of the member tiers. It's Member Lite, Member Plus, Member VIP, and Member VIP Plus. Really, we just need everybody to focus on Member Plus. Member Lite is the $5 tier. That's for gifteds. They get into most of the content, but not all. The daily Green Room stream is for Member Plus and above. Only 4 million people playing Indiana Jones when there's over 500 million people. Right? Bragging about your MAUs kind of backfires when you start trying to have these attach rate discussions. You know? You want to brag about your MAUs at Xbox that includes Minecraft. I mean, go right ahead. And then let's talk about attach rates. Like, it just doesn't... Again, they're not consistent. So, like, that's why I said earlier, like, I'm not interested in receipt pulling buffoons. Like, I just don't care. There's nothing to be gained by receipt pulling somebody who makes a dumb argument. You know? There's just no point. It just doesn't serve a purpose. Best thing we can do is continually put out what we think is an accurate and honest product, and, you know, continue to stick to what the actual companies say, shareholders and everything else. Grady's going to bump the line to 62. Thank you, Grady, for renewing your Member Plus. All right, let me bump your stream. So we are going to be watching this in a little bit. It's going to go live in about 9 minutes. And a 20 bomb from MASH. He gets us to 82. Really jump-starting the count for the week. Appreciate you, MASH. This man has had some tag team partners recently. Last week, he kind of stood alone, but some people came in big at the end of the week, like Kat and others. We appreciate all those big member bombs from people that really support what we do here. A great way to ensure that more and more people get gifted members, and a great way for you to basically pay it forward, is to upgrade to Member Plus. Get out of the gifted bucket. If you get out of that gifted bucket, you're making room for others. Mash off the top rope. That's right. I never get one. A great way to solve the problem of never getting a membership is just click join and pick Member Plus. It's $6 a month, and you get into all of my extra content as well as my Discord. You know what I mean? It's a cup of coffee once a month. The cost of a cup of coffee gets you into the entire backside of my channel, all the extras. I know times are tough, and some of you guys need those gifteds, but if you're like, man, I just can't get one, $6 gets you in for the whole month. It's not like you don't got to keep doing it every week or every day. It's once a month. You're a broke college student. I heard that, dude. You know what I'm saying? You're eating ramen every day. I heard it. I know it. I lived it. I played the beta for Monster Hunter Wilds, and it had some weird blurring, I believe, from frame gen. Hoping it works better. Yeah, there's no early access for Mon Hun Wilds. It's like just this Friday, right? I went and researched that. I was like, yeah, I wonder if I could play early, and you can't. We all love the backside. That's what I'm saying, dude. $6 gets you into the backside. Gifteds everywhere. That's right. That's right. I owe you guys 5 more. I'm going to do that now to celebrate the fact that we're about to watch a live event. IGN and Xbox are pairing up for a fan fest. ID at Xbox is going to be there with a bunch of indie titles. We only need 30 more likes to roll over to 400 likes. Thank you, everybody who has pressed like already today. The image quality on PS5 performance mode is pretty bad, possibly because of FSR. It uses FSR1. I warned people ahead of time. I told people to be cautious about Monhun Wilds on the PlayStation. I said, PlayStation 5 base model is going to use FSR1 for the upscaling, and then the PS5 Pro is going to use PSSR. And I said, I think there's going to be a distinct, and I mean distinct difference between Monhun Wilds performance mode on the Pro versus the base model. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like on PC. I don't know what upscaler they're using. Yeah, Greg, FSR1. As soon as I saw that, I got concerned because FSR1 is what they used in Final Fantasy 16. And the minute that you are not in combat, like, the open world exploration was just awful. It was terrible. It just looked so blurry and muddy. And some of the fights looked blurry and muddy. So we were all hoping that they were going to do an update to FF16. And I got tired of waiting, and so I rolled credits. What's the Series S using? I don't know. Series S and X are also probably using FSR1. I don't think that they're going to have different versions. Don't trust this guy. FF16 was awesome. I loved FF16, but the performance mode was bad. It was bad. PC is locked to 60. Basically, the demo, I hit 50, 4K 60 nonstop. Wait. Wired rope. What rig and what were you running? Were you running DLSS? Like, how were you getting such rock-solid performance out of the Monhun Wilds? Are you talking about Monhun Wilds? FF16 needs a pro mode. It does. You were running a 4090. Okay. I'm assuming you were leveraging DLSS to nail what you're saying was a 4K 60. A rock solid 4K 60. Guys, in 3.5 minutes, I'm gonna give you volume and we're gonna watch this. Let me get the member count up in the frame here. You guys can track it while we're doing this. We're close to 100, which is basically the daily goal. I couldn't stand it. There were some areas with NPCs and towns and stuff that was just bad. This game looks so good. This game looks so good. Like a month away. You can play. I think you can still play the demo pretty much everywhere. The first Berserker Kazan. So good. I was seeing, they did an interview about difficulty. There's just a single difficulty level in First Berserker Kazan. I wanted to make sure I told that to people. Like, there's no difficulty settings in First Berserker, so. Kazan's one of your most anticipated games this year. The demo was awesome. I played the beta back before there was a demo available, and I really liked it. I did have some minor performance issues, so, yeah. Keep forgetting about that one. Looks awesome. Art style's great. And again, you can play the demo right now. I wanted to play the demo on my PS5 Pro. I keep forgetting to do it. I'm like working through my backlog and makes it tough. Yes, there is a difficulty mode. What do you mean? Yeah, I played Avowed for a little bit. I didn't like it. So you can lower the difficulty in First Berserker? I just thought I read a bunch of interviews that said that there were no difficulty options. Or are you saying you can increase the difficulty? I found it to be approachable but very challenging. Like the parrying was tough. You can change it after completing the demo. Are you going to be able to do that from moment one? Are you going to be able to lower the difficulty? Or if you get like halfway through and it's just too hard, are you going to be able to lower the difficulty? Like, how are they handling that? Because I usually try and give people advice on like, stay away from this one if you don't want it to be too hard. There's story, normal, and hard. Oh, there is. I didn't know that they were doing that. All right, here we go. Let's do this. Make sure you guys are smashing the like button. I didn't schedule a new stream for this. We're just going to co-stream it on the fly. See what kind of game announcements we get. They're going to start in about 30 seconds. While we're waiting, hit that like button. Get us to 400 likes. Appreciate you guys hanging out and supporting the stream today. Nice big turnout for a Monday. We didn't do an upload this morning. I'm not sure if I'll have time this afternoon for one. We'll see how long this goes. I also have a call with YouTube at 5. So it's kind of shortening my afternoon work session. Here we go. They're going to open with a trailer, looks like.
IGN Fan Fest 2025 is here. From Monster Hunter Wilds to Mythic Quest, Daredevil Born Again,
Let's dance,
to Devil May Cry. Coming up, the ID at Xbox Showcase. We'll be getting a look at upcoming projects from Don't Nod, NeoWiz, and Raccoon Logic. Plus, new looks at what's coming to hit games like Velatro. IGN Fan Fest Day 1 starts right now.
Hi, I'm Martin Tweed, former CEO of Kindred Aerospace. Fired by Alta Interglobal and abandoned on the far edges of space with no gear, no job.
Oh, I'm so
no
looking forward
plan.
to this. What is this, Revenge of the Savage Planet?
Tossed you aside like so
Yeah, I
much
can't
garbage.
wait for this.
Worry not.
Co-op is really eating good.
Always turn to Kindred for a solution. Introducing
The Kindred catalog.
With the right resources, you can create tools such as
The goo cannon from Saku's.
smother creatures in viscous green goo to make them slip instead of eating you. Disgusting. Or use your lasso to catch them. We promise that any research conducted will unlock more fabulous gear and that the harm to the creature will be minimal. Use conductive pharaoh goo to shock and open organic doors, or spread it on the ground to slow down a speedy foe. Or lay down a goo fuse. Then after your buddy has upgraded that pacifier pistol with a charged shot, light them all up. If that doesn't work, try
The Mag Fork from Kindred Labs.
move mountains, create platforms, grab makeshift spears from the environment, and remember, you still have
Your lasso and whip from Wild Times.
whip some critters to keep them at bay so you or your buddy can punt them off a cliff. Oh, the hilarity that will ensue. Then upgrade that whip so you can grapple launch yourself to new heights. Or better yet, kick a few critters into the air while you and your buddy pick them off with a brand new
Griffin Spunker pacifier pistol.
It's a homemade skeet shooting game. The Kindred catalog. You have the tools, you have the imagination, and let's face it, you have the time. Find it, build it, then execute it. The wackier the plan, the juicier the solution. I'll be in touch. Onward and upward.
May 8th. Yeah, Revenge of the Savage Planet. I'm looking forward to that one for co-op.
Hello and welcome to the 2025 ID at Xbox Showcase right here on IGN FanFest. The ID at Xbox Showcase is all about games, and this year we've got exclusive reveals of brand new games you've never seen before, some great stuff coming to games you already know and love, and a bunch of awesome surprises along the way. And I'm your host, Akeem.
And I'm Alan Wheeler. It's always an honor to join forces with our friends at Xbox to bring you the latest of what Xbox fans will be playing next wherever you play your Xbox games. You just got a brand new look at Revenge of the Savage Planet, the new sci-fi action-adventure game coming your way this May.
The ID at Xbox 2025 Showcase is all a part of IGN FanFest, which will be going strong all week long, so be sure to tune into that. And we'll have interviews with some of the most talented directors, actors, writers, and game makers in the world, and new looks at things like Daredevil Born Again, Mythic Quest, WWE 2K25, and so much more. And hey, if you miss any of that, don't stress it. You can easily catch up on IGN.com or IGN's YouTube page.
But for now, let's get back to the ID at Xbox Showcase with a sneak peek at some big games heading to Xbox in the not-so-distant future. Take a look.
Okay, another co-op game. Oh, we've seen this one. Yeah, this one looks dope. Like, you like defend the ship. I think you also land on planets and stuff. I think this might be a copyrighted song. I get so tired of having to mute these broadcasts. I'm just going to preemptively mute. Sorry. It's just so frustrating. Then nobody can hear my commentary. Yeah, this is, I forget the name of this one. We've seen this one before. It really, really looks fun. Like, you have to, like, defend the ship. You got to go down. You got to get stuff. You got to extract. It looks like there's good gunplay. It honestly looks like a frickin' blast. Like, this is a perfect community game night game. I just forget the name of it. The graphics are actually pretty impressive, like, when they're showing, like, the guns and stuff. It's actually not bad. Starfield 1.5. No, this is called Jump Ship. Early access in summer. You can sign up for the closed beta. Well, shoot. Never a fan of, like, early access trailers. I'm like, because then we know we can't actually play it this year unless you're on Steam. And then you're not playing the full version. I'm a fan of early access. I want the consoles to be more involved with early access. Okay, so Rogue? Yeah, Xbox does early access with game preview, and PlayStation's doing early access as well with some games. I want the consoles to do it more. Echo Weaver, day one on Game Pass. I don't know if these are multi-plats, boys. I'm not seeing Steam or PlayStation logos, so these might be mostly Xbox. So for those that like Xbox and Game Pass, some of these are a big win for you.
Wake up, Will. Get ready. Your next journey unfolds. A new place to call home.
Oh yeah, this is what's this called? Moonlighter? So they decided to go in a different direction with this, and I think this looks great. I can't remember if they added co-op to this or not, but the first one's a very different art style. This looks great.
And treasures beyond imagination. Tread carefully, though. Who knows what tomorrow holds?
Yeah, Moonlighter 2. So that's got the Windows logo, and you're saying that Echo game is on Steam. Okay.
I, Herbert S. Sinclair, give to my grandnephew, Simon P. Jones.
So Street Shadow saying some of these are going to be console exclusives like the Echo one because of the Game Pass deal, but Moonlighter 2's on everything. Okay.
Provision is contingent on discovering the location of the 46th room of my 45-room estate. Any heir worthy of the Sinclair legacy should have no trouble uncovering its whereabouts in a timely manner. Should my grandnephew fail to uncover this room, then this gift shall lapse. Herbert S. Sinclair.
You just got to look at Jump Ship, Echo Weaver, Moonlighter 2, the endless...
Yeah, Phil did say that, Mash, so I'm not really sure why Moonlighter was doing the whole contract thing where they don't show the other logos. I don't care, but Phil did say they're going to start showing logos at the end. Maybe that's going to start at the summer showcase like Street Shadow saying, because he said they made the decision last year and they didn't have all the assets ready.
The Xbox Showcase has tons more game reveals and surprises in store right here on IGN FanFest. But first, we need to take a quick break. Stick around. FanFest is presented by the Army National Guard, serving our communities and helping those in need.
Guys, while they're doing a little ad break here, I'm going to do my own ad break. Make sure you're hitting the like button, get us to 400 likes. You can get us to the milestone of the day, which is 100 members, and then I'll give some more. Thank you for all the continued support. You can obviously also upgrade your membership. The member tiers are now properly labeled, Member Lite and Member Plus, so you want to bump up from Lite to Plus if you want to get access to all the content. And we're going to continue watching this ID at Xbox event. A lot of games coming this year are not big AAAs, but smaller indies and AAs. I've been saying that the era of the AA-sized game is upon us. There's going to be a lot more games in that hemisphere.
Tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow. Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
I mean, $30 a year.
IGN Store has it all. From clothes and collectibles to vinyl records, accessories, model kits, and action figures from the biggest and best franchises like The Legend of Zelda, Star Wars, Fallout, Dungeons and Dragons, and more. Whatever your pop culture passion, you're guaranteed to find something you love. There are new and exciting products hitting the store every week, like the Wasteland-ready Fallout Vault 33 hoodie, which pairs perfectly with the working wearable Pip-Boy. Plus, high-quality IGN Store exclusives like the powerful and spicy Star Wars Darkside Hot Sauce by Truff. We've even got merchandise for you to rock while tuning in to the IGN shows and podcasts you love. Or cap off a long day by relaxing to the soundtracks of your favorite video games, like Cyberpunk and The Last of Us. And the best part? You don't even need to leave the house to go there. Just head to store.ign.com and start shopping today. The IGN Store. You deserve it.
Hey, welcome back to ID at Xbox right here on IGN FanFest. Now up next, we have 4 more games we can't wait to show you, starting with Outbound. So let's go.
I gotta take a quick break. I'll be right back. I can watch on my phone. Lonesome Guild. That looked good. It also looked like it had co-op.
You just saw Outbound, Hurdling, Wax Heads, and the Lonesome Guild, all part of the 2025 ID at Xbox Showcase.
Now let's get back to the video game, shall we? Now up next, we have a few things you've never seen before and some great content coming to games you probably already love.
But hey, enough teasing from us. Let's roll it.
Oh, this game is so good. Hilly and I played this. This game is really fun. Coming soon to PC and Game Pass. There you go.
the game begin. How painfully human.
Taste the chains of despair. I'll burn you to the bone.
Should we just put some cards on the table?
You know what they say, the house always wins.
Looks like the joke's on us.
Yo, this guy probably literally... Oh, a Shadow Drop. Game Pass of Balatro right now with all of those Friends of Jimbo. Look at that. Friends of Jimbo 4 out today. This guy probably spent an entire week on the phone negotiating all these deals. He's gotten so many collaborations. Good for him.
Huge. But this next world premiere is going to rock your world. Check it out.
Tonight on Behind the Curtain, we dive deep into one of the 90s most controversial bands.
It was beyond our wildest dreams.
Their music defined a generation.
What can I say, man? Artistic genius is a curse.
The man behind this meteoric rise, their notorious manager.
He drove from out of town to meet us. We were waiting at this bar.
We'll be paying this guy, so I want to know. What exactly will you do for us?
Plain and simple. I'll make you rich.
You know why I'm here, lad? I'm here to f*** you over.
Make me stray,
Filthy rich, drowning in women, piss through it all.
Oh my God, Vernon!
I know where this road leads, and it ain't nowhere pretty.
Looking for trouble? Effervescent, isn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll. So, I gotta ask, would you do anything differently?
What exactly will you do for us?
Mostly, I just try to stay out of your way.
That's it?
That was the world premiere and release date reveal for Rock Beasts, and it looks like it absolutely rocks. You know, everybody knows that rock beats scissors. Paper beats rock and scissors beats paper, but a beast would probably just destroy all of them, let alone a rock beast.
You know, that's something I never had to think about until right now, but it's actually pretty true. So thanks for that information, Al.
No
I
worries.
appreciate it. All right, well, there's tons more Idea at Xbox Showcase coming up right after this quick break, so please stick around.
They're going to do a little station identification. So I'm going to do a little station identification, guys. Thanks for 400 likes. Keep smashing that like button. Give us a little bit of cushion there. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Subscribing is totally free. And if you would like to support the channel directly, consider hitting the join button and make sure that you pick Member Plus. Member Lite is an introductory tier indicated or designated for gifted members to try out all the content. So for $6 a month to get into all my extra shows, like we're going to end today in the green room, and that'll be available to you. So I'm not quite sure what this is a commercial for, but they're showing all these old movies. Demo of Hold On, White Knuckle, the speed climbing horror demo has been announced as well. Persona 4 remake seem even more likely. There's a rumor. And okay. Okay. Is this indie show? Do you think we'll get the GTA 6 release date trailer? Yeah, I mean, I would always come to indie shows and expect big AAA games to be here. I think that's a good thing to do. You know what I mean? There's good reason to set your expectations wildly above what the event is supposed to be about. So, I will say, what I find extremely interesting about this is there are no advertisers paying for ad spots here. IGN's just advertising their own store and their own Plus thing. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign for them that, like, I don't know. They're advertising their IGN Plus thing here, which is like $30 a year or $5 a month for all this stuff that they're promoting here. No, I don't think Silksong will be here or replaced. I think Silksong will be at the Xbox Showcase this year. I think they have a marketing deal with Xbox.
IGN FanFest. Up next, 3 more games guaranteed to put a smile on your face, especially if you were fond of a certain rhythm-based strategy series that involved commanding an army of little creatures to the tune of a catchy soundtrack. Sound familiar? Here's a gameplay clip from the upcoming rhythm-based roguelike Retraction.
I was having a hard time understanding the mechanics. Like, they were barely ever really damaging the boss. I don't know. Oh, sorry. Hearing that music all day is my own version of hell. Yeah, at first I thought the concept was cool, Victor. I would need to try it out, though, like having different types of actions based on the buttons and the beats that you put out.
All keep our favorite moments close to us, somewhere safe. This box holds mine. Welcome to Widow. This is a cozy, story-driven game about my happiest memory, summer in the countryside. Let me show you. It's simple. Just drag each object to its place, assembling the story, piece by piece, cup to cup, cat to cat. One summer, I was sent to the countryside. You know, a place that's not marked on any map. I used to be such a city girl, always online, always busy. Spending my whole summer in a forsaken village? No thanks. But here I am, surrounded by a gang of geese, clearly thinking they're the biggest deal around here. But who had been feeding them so well? Perhaps a goose grandma who always says they're too skinny? I had to fight a sneaky goat every day from my own backpack, cheered on by the laughter of the tiny yellow goslings. And that's how the story starts. My first day in a sweet village, full of joy, friendly faces, and welcoming warmth from the locals. Lovely place. But, you know, everything changed when I met Ben.
I mean, it was graphically really charming. I know people like games like that. That's not for me.
That was
but
Tempopo, Ratatan, and Widow.
I thought the like the art direction was really charming. That's not a game I would play though.
Elves
My daughter would probably love it.
Very back of a Star Wars cantina.
You know what? You might be onto something with that one. Now, we're getting close to the finish line here today, but that doesn't mean we're out of surprises for you just yet. We've got lots more new games to show you, plus a huge update coming to one of the best games of the generation. All this and more as the 2025 ID at Xbox Showcase continues after this break.
Man, they're taking a lot of breaks. Should rename it to Cozy Game Fest. Somebody's asking, Noberto's saying, are you going to check out the Annapurna stuff? It was like 25-minute showcase. Everything looked pretty good. When did they do that? Did they do that last week? I was meaning to check it out because I was interested if they were going to drop any hints about a new Stray game. My daughter's like really wanting them to be doing a new Stray game. Fairly boring, but some cool titles. I mean, yeah, I don't necessarily know what category people would fall into on some of these titles, but I mean, they've done this sort of independent ID push before, which I like. I like letting indies get their time. You know, man, they are pushing this IGN Plus thing almost obnoxiously too much. Like at this point, you're just extending the show to run this commercial again. Like we've seen it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, good night. Indie's supposed to be weird and different. I can't believe they didn't have any advertising spots to sell here. Like, I figure you run this once or twice, not like every time. I mean, I get it. Everybody's got their own thing they're trying to get folks to do. I mean, I've got my own thing, that I focus on during my shows, but jeepers. Oh, it was like an hour ago. Oh, yeah, I'll check it out, Noberto, especially if it's only like 25 minutes long. Is IGN Plus included in my Game Pass subscription? I don't think so. Tomorrow's show will be Lono talking about IGN Plus. Yeah, we'll be sure to cover this tomorrow. All right, here we go.
ID at Xbox Showcase right here on IGN's Fan Fest. Now up next, we've got a bunch of new game trailers to show you, so hey, instead of just teasing you and making you try to guess what we're going to show you, we'll just cut to the chase and give you what you want. Take it away.
This is Pon. He's a tanuki. This summer, by order of the Tanuki god, Pon has to restore the Great Tanuki Shrine. To do so, he needs to earn money. Pon takes on the role of the delivery Tanuki, mixing hard work with stunting around town. It's a busy summer for Pon, but even Tanuki need to rest now and then. This is Pon Summer. We hope you'll enjoy the adventure together. Tanuki, Pon Summer. Available on Xbox Game Pass later this year.
Yeah, this is probably copyrighted music. Sorry. It might have already triggered it, but it'll shorten the amount of time I have to mute, which means it'll process quicker. I've kind of just gotten completely over it. Like, unless it's a big major event, I just am going to turn the volume down when we're using copyrighted music. It's just not needed. It's so unnecessary. Creates a copyright claim nightmare every time we do an event like this. And when it's a big showcase or the Game Awards, you know, I just let it ride. But on something smaller like this, I'm just going to turn the volume down and save myself the headache later. So Descenders next. April 9, wishlist now. No, I don't want your music.
Cora, Beck, Tron. Every grid has its heroes. The Arc grid fractures into the glitch, but one program stands against that storm. Exo. You. A hero is nothing without their grid. Exo fights for hers, against those who would tear it apart. She must escape core, but escape is not enough. A loop cannot be broken without a change in conditions.
Yeah, it's a perfect game for the rogue. I feel like the
program.
This is a perfect game for a rogue. I felt like the combat looked really, really not fun. It just looked super repetitive, like the same attack over and over. Ooh, Thunder Lotus. Oh, it's 33 Immortals. Combat looked like, yeah, like you watch 2 seconds of Hades and you can tell the combat's going to be fire. That combat looked really clunky and slow.
That was Tanuki Pon Summer, Descenders next, Tron Catalyst, and 33 Immortals. A little something for everyone, and that's the truth. But hey, if the truth really isn't your thing, you probably love the 2023 action game Lies of P that turned the classic story of Pinocchio into a brutal steampunk horror world full of terrifying puppet monsters.
Yeah, but you know, 2023 was so long ago, so maybe you're asking yourself, when are we gonna get to go back to the world of Lies of P and experience a whole new adventure? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we have your answer right here and right now on the 2025 ID at Xbox Showcase. Take a look.
Okay, this is new. Yeah, this
Listening to this song always reminds me of you. But now you belong to the past. Do you remember the time we all gathered to play this piece together? I never got to say farewell. I know it changed everything, but we endured. Perhaps someday, if we can cross the bounds of time,
Are they
we'll meet again.
Are they announcing co-op? Or is that just a companion? They both have the lanterns. Is that them announcing co-op?
And there you have it, the exciting reveal of Lies of P Overture from the brilliantly talented team at NeoWiz. And that just about wraps us up here at the 2025 ID at Xbox Showcase here on IGN. And it was a blast.
Yeah, but wait, if you want even more fun for Xbox fans, stick around, because Unlocked is our weekly Xbox podcast here at IGN, and we've got a whole post-show coming your way with special guest Guy Richards, the head of ID at Xbox.
And believe it or not, the ID at Xbox Showcase is just day one of IGN Fan Fest, and we've got 4 full days of fantastic stuff just for you, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, continuing each day all week long. And we'll have new looks at things like Mythic Quest, Daredevil Born Again, WWE 2K25, Alien Rogue Incursion, the new horror comedy The Monkey, and tons more. Check out IGN.com for the full schedule and IGN's YouTube channel for anything you might have missed.
But for now, thank you all so much for watching the ID at Xbox Showcase and celebrating all these fantastic game reveals with us at IGN. It's always an honor to partner with Xbox to help bring you the future of Xbox games. We'll see you again very soon.
All right, really quickly, we can check out the Annapurna event. I have no interest in listening to their post-show. All right.
love riding bikes, and I love switching out parts on my bike to make that experience feel different. You're so connected to the bike itself, and the way the bike is built determines how you flow through, whether it's just the street or the trails. It's just a beautiful way to get around.
Mark made me my dream bike of a mini velo, which is a very cool geometrically sized bike. It's kind of squat, long. It is a utility bike. I can go shopping and throw groceries in there. I biked my yoga studio. I mean, we're Venice parents now, right?
We met at the Indiecade booth. I believe it was E3.
We had a lot of mutual friends, and we kind of kept meeting.
Yeah, quickly hit it off. We're definitely interested in the same kinds of games.
I just finished graduate school, and we would be talking about mess-off work. Then our mess-off work ended up becoming enough work for both of us that we ended up leaving our USC jobs and starting full-time mess-off in earnest.
Sometimes I go out and I don't necessarily know where I'm going to go on a bike ride. I'll just go. Wheel World's like that. You know, it's open world. You might start playing thinking you want to do a race, and then maybe you just bike around, and that's okay.
Wheel World is our most ambitious project. This is the first time that we've really staffed up. There are 10 of us, which is really fun to work with a real team. And going from 2D to 3D, we really didn't know what we were getting into.
I think we were just thinking about, what if we made a game that's like totally out of our wheelhouse? What if the opportunity came up and we could make a long single-player experience? I always want to make games that anyone can play. We want to keep the button count down. We want to like keep it simple. You can really just hang out in this game in a way that you couldn't in previous games. You don't really have to do any of the challenges if you don't want to. You can just like cruise around and appreciate the scenery. I wanted to capture that feeling when you're on a bike and you can go anywhere. There's things you'll discover, there's perspectives you'll see the world in that you didn't see before, and that'll clue you into going to a different place than you might have.
We're really hoping that this is something that people play and they're like, wow, this reminds me of certain games, but I've never played anything like it before. That's really important to all of us.
You know, if everyone were on bikes, wouldn't that be nice?
Get your coffee yet?
Well, I left it outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I thought I was not, but now here I see everyone has their coffee. All right, I'm gonna go get my coffee. I'm Davey. I'm the writer and creative director on Wanderstop.
I'm Patrick. I'm the studio director / lead producer.
I mean, yeah. Tell me what's kind of going on.
That's what's happened. We actually, yeah. I have a history of releasing games without really saying very much about them and trying to shroud them in mystery as much as possible. Our team has really coaxed me out of my shell a little bit and convinced me to begin like actually saying things directly about what the game is. And Wanderstop is a narrative-centric, cozy game about people going through changes that they don't necessarily want to be going through, and just seeing how they react.
Wanderstop comes out March 11th, 2025, and we really can't wait to see what y'all think of it.
I mean, that doesn't... You're not really selling your game, man. I have no idea what that game's about. Like
my interest in games went all the way back to my first computer.
Like, being withholding about your game, like, it's not charming. It's like, okay, you just made it really forgettable. Like, all right.
And we found a folder called Games in it. Pretty much from that point on, I just really, really loved just playing video games. My name is Brendan Chung, and I'm the creative director at Blendo Games. Kind of back in the day, they used to release the tools that they used to make the game with the game. It was just like a big hobby of mine, and I made a ton of mods, and maps, and art for games like Quake and Half-Life. Doing that led to working at a game studio. So in 2010, the studio I was working at got shut down, and I decided to start Blendo Games at that point. They're trying to fly us to their base.
If they get there, they'll steal the cargo and hold us for ransom.
Wait, I think that's my line.
Oh, that's your line. Never mind. We wanted to work together for a really long time. We'd had the sense that we have kind of the same sensibility when it comes to story and comedy, and that we knew we could make something together that would be really cool. My name is Laura Mache, and I'm handling the narrative stuff on Skin Deep.
Skin Deep started in 2018. I'd say this is the largest project we've taken on.
When I first started writing for games, one of the most exciting things about that was working with artists and getting to see people add a visual element to the stories that I was telling.
Having friends and a community is something that is really important for any creative project. You need other people to make things work.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've got stuff to do, and this is like really belaboring the point. I think it's great that people are passionate about their projects, but I really have a lot of work to do. This is such a not type of showcase that I want to watch right now. Like super overindulgent and slow. And it's great that people are passionate about their games, and I love celebrating that. But like, I have a schedule to keep. I was only really interested in this event if we were going to get any kind of hints about like a new Stray game or something, and there isn't. So I'm gonna call that. I've just, again, my schedule is just too cramped to another 15-20 minutes of that is time wasted. I've got so much I've got to get done. So let me get Green Room scheduled. They're the publisher behind Stray. They're not necessarily the developer behind Stray. So we're gonna schedule Green Room Member Plus and above at 2. We're a little behind on pace for the week, but that's okay. We typically start out a little bit slow and hit the ground running middle and late week on the weekly goal for that Madam stream. We'll likely be doing Monster Hunter this week with her and Hilly. That'll be probably a frickin' riot. It's always fun to play games that are like more outside of her wheelhouse. Okay. Yeah, the last show had nothing to do with Xbox. It was an Annapurna event, and I'm sorry, I don't have time for that. In the nicest way possible, it's like, dude, my freaking schedule is just tight. I've got a 5 o'clock call today with YouTube, and I can't spend another minute on something like that. Like, we just weren't getting a cadence of announcements and gameplay. It was like super lengthy discussions about why they're making their cute little indie game, and I'm like, I don't have time for this right now. I don't know if Monhun Wilds is crossplay. I don't think it is. I think that's going to be a dilemma for us, Hilly. All right, I'm going to spam a link in chat. This is a reason to be at Member Plus. The day doesn't end when you're at Member Plus and above. So upgrade if you want to come with us. Thank you so much for being a paying member to this channel. We have switched Green Room into sort of the afternoon segment for Member Plus and VIPs. So thank you so much for being a Member Plus and a VIP. We continue to get closer and closer to the next milestone of 600 people at Member Plus and above. So thank you guys so much. Oh, it does have full crossplay. Great. I'm going to end the previous stream. It was a longer stream. We watched the Xbox ID event, watched a little bit of the Annapurna event. I'm going to end that stream and redirect folks over. And thank you so much to everybody
who has been continuing to support the stream with memberships, gifted memberships, and super chats. And I'm going to change